Forever. Dog.
Warning, the following podcast may contain hot takes, hot button grass, and hot ducks. The boys careen into wild trackless paths, but try not to fully derail from Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Nothing can stop us now. It's Podcast The Ride. Welcome to Podcast The Ride, a podcast about rides that has finally run out of ice shows and Bono alter egos and has no choice but to cover a ride. I'm Scott Gardner, begrudgingly accepting this situation. Mike Carlson,
hi.
Similar.
Hey, I'm here.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll get through it. At this point, we just need Bono to think of a new character, and he's busy sitting at the State of the Union, and he's not in his writing lab coming up with new character names.
Look, as soon as Sam Smith did his Little Devil routine on the Grammys, the first thing I thought of was my man, Mr. McFisto. So I thought maybe we should do an immediate new episode about him again. That was the perfect in, because everybody... I feel stupid talking about your Ben Shapiro's of the world because, like, it's very performative. Oh, this is bad, and
you give him oxygen by even
Elon Musk
talking
tweets,
about him.
"This feels like the end of days," and you're like, "This is the corniest Little Devil routine I've ever seen. This is Hot Stuff the Little Devil."
I didn't
That's
watch
what
it.
I
Jason
said,
Sheridan, our Hot Stuff the Little Devil.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Show me the proper respect. It was like a million pop star or rock star performance. They're
just
like
like,
a naughty.
Wasn't there just
naughty
a devil thing with Lil
I
Nas
know,
X? We
it's-
had this conversation
Yes,
exactly,
I
but
know.
That
replace
is
Lil
true.
Nas Sam Smith with
That's why I
Lil
feel
Nas X.
silly for like playing into like making fun of the conservative media for being mad about it, because I'm like, I think they're pretending to. I think it's all fake. It's all kayfabe.
Plus, our friend Denzel told us that the devil comes along when you least. What did he tell Will Smith? What was the weird
You really
thing?
should have
Your
known.
proudest moment. That's when the devil.
your biggest. Yeah.
I remember now. Okay. Yes, that applies to the Grammys, I think.
The devil. That's all of us. When we all have had proud moments, like putting out an episode about Bono's devil alter ego. That's when the devil comes for you. A different devil, as played by Sam Smith.
As played by Sam Smith, but Bonnie Raitt, watch out, the devil's lurking.
She's not safe backstage. Watch out, Bonnie.
But, that's really all I have to say. I just thought of our guy, Mr. McFisto, when all this controversy, in quotes, happened. But
where was George Bush about? George Bush wasn't sounding the alarms about Mr. McFisto back in Zooropa era.
And Mr. McFisto was at the State of the Union as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, his alter ego.
As I was
was.
saying, Bono's there.
Right. So
this is very topical.
Very topical.
Very relevant.
I guess we should talk about a theme park ride.
A new big ride that's out. That's very current. The guys, we don't do that. This almost never happens.
Change is hard. Change is hard. I kept finding myself in uncomfortable territory where I was writing down like, I like this. This is good.
Yeah, well, that's the devil that's coming for us. Maybe
sure
right? Is that when we do the assignment of the show that we gave ourselves years ago, and we just talk about rides. Sometimes when it's a ride that you like, then you just say I like the ride, and then what? And that's kind of how I feel about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I mean, I have stuff that I'd like to talk about.
Yeah.
But it's fun when you got a big sack of snark to start whipping around to toss onto the table, but my sack is empty.
Well, sure.
Snark free.
I'll have plenty to complain about, though, when we hit Super Nintendo World, because it seems like there's very little Mr. Game & Watch representation.
What's that?
Mr. Game & Watch is a little stick figure man. From very early, I think, handheld pre-Nintendo Entertainment System.
He's cute.
Mr. Game & Watch is very cute. Eventually, they would put them all together and release them on, I think it was for Game Boy Pocket.
I don't want to start giving Jordan assignments. This is a video episode, and we're with Jordan Katz, our producer. But if we could see Mr. Game and Watch, I have him on my laptop, but for the viewer, and you can watch this on the Forever Dog YouTube.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at him right now, and maybe we'll throw him up on the big screen. But there's not enough of him to be cute. There's not he is just a body. You know what I mean?
Oh. Well, you know what? When I played. I've never actually played the Game & Watch, but I played it. I forget which Smash Brothers came out. I think there's enough of him there to be cute.
Yeah,
he's featureless. It's hard to be cute.
Well, he shows up
silhouette.
In Super Smash Brothers, like Mike said. So he does.
That's
have
the first time I played. I played with him or played as him.
He does have a move set. You know, he's got a full like.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mr. Game & Watch is a killer.
Yeah.
He'll kill you.
Yeah,
you
Can
you're
you
gonna
be cute and a killer?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Oh my gosh.
You got to be watching out for the kids who are like, I want to play as Mr. Game & Watch. It's like, okay, well, I have him unlocked.
Oh, that's like the demented choice a little bit.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, my character's Captain Falcon, so I don't know if I'm much better. So.
Oh, so you're not even a Game & Watch guy when you're playing Smash?
No, I didn't say I was.
Okay, but you're upset that you want to at least see him in the land.
I like seeing. Yeah. I mean, I know there's little Easter eggs, and I've tried to get the basics so I know what to do when I go. But I'm trying not to spoil too much for myself.
Right. And well, that's another topical theme park thing that perhaps we might talk about soon.
What a time! There's things happening. There's things opening. Big relevant rides.
Maybe.
So far, we've been pretty lucky making it to these. Now, Runaway Railway has been open since March 4th, 2020 at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Yikes.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was that close. So a couple people got to do it, and then much more a year later.
Yeah.
But it is brand new here in Disneyland. It's only been open for a couple of weeks, and Jason hasn't been down to see it there, but I have done it recently, and Mike has done it just this week, a couple days ago.
That's right. Yeah, 2 days ago I did it. Daddy went back to Disneyland.
Yeah.
I'm talking about myself when
That's
he's talking
the
about myself
headline.
as daddy, and it's purely from a parental place, not any sort of sex thing. Daddy went back to Disneyland alone.
Yes. Well, that's your way, as it should be.
As is his way. Daddy went alone.
Bring a laptop this time? Do any work?
No, and thank God, because Daddy was tired that day, and he had a big meal by the pool at the Grand Californian and a cocktail, and his eyes started twitching.
Oh.
And he has yet to recover from the energy. He's so tired. It was a string of bad baby sleep nights.
Yeah.
So I went, and then so this is what happened. They have the whole virtual queue. You have to get up at 7 a.m. to get your spot in line. This almost never happens to me. I had the alarm set. I hit snooze on the alarm out of just sheer panic. What is that stupid noise? Turned it off. Missed the virtual queue at 7 a.m.
Wow.
Michael.
I woke up at 7:15 and I was flabbergasted. I had no idea. How could this have happened?
You didn't check. Not only did you do a bad job checking, there was no check.
Yes. I could not believe what had happened because I don't even really have a memory of turning the phone off. That's how tired I was. I just literally reached over, hit snooze on it, and then it rang again 8 or 10 whatever minutes later, and I completely missed the window.
Ring rust on checking.
You take that back, first of all.
Okay.
That is not true.
He's so high on the CVS thing that he's got $2 more of a deal than you every week.
I
So he's
understand.
coming in, he's swinging at you.
Clock's ticking. Okay, Wednesday is soon going to become Thursday, so I'm
I
waiting
know.
to see every week.
The coupon fairy visits us all tonight, and Jason will get a $4 coupon. I will get a $2 coupon.
I'm waiting for it to just drop out entirely with no warning. I'm also considering checking out that Mark Cuban has a very cheap mail order pharmacy company now.
What?
Mark Cuban has a mail order pharmacy that's just generics, and it's pennies on the dollar for the most common generic
That sounds good.
prescriptions.
But that also seems like the kind of thing you would hate, like a billionaire doing a new thing, right?
I don't love that, but I do love a deal.
I know. This is what
it's a
what
conflict.
billionaires often want to give you is a deal. So you have this fighting in your head. You have these Smash Brothers smashing in and all the time.
It's even cheaper that like Walmart has a lot of like generics that are like really, really cheap. And they but then I have to drive over. This would just
What? Wait,
what you would do,
sorry.
I would
took a
have
real
to
left turn.
That
where
was-
I
I would
thought
have
you were going.
to
I thought you were going, but then I have to support the Walton family and their exploitation of the workers.
yeah,
and the
I-
low
The
they're
mom and
not-
pops disappear.
they're
you
not
see.
great, but
I gotta drive. I got a drive to do. I gotta drive an extra 3
I gotta
minutes.
drive to the like kind of inconvenient Walmart versus it just shows
That's not
up
that
when
far
the
from where you
mailman.
live.
No, it's not. But versus it just shows up in the mail.
Well, sure, that's more convenient.
That's
but
what
you
I'm
love
thinking.
the Empire Center, which is where the Walmart.
Oh,
the
I do
nearest-
love the Empire Center.
Right,
Yeah,
which is where that Walmart is.
yeah, but I'm more of a Target guy.
Well, but that's not what you said.
And that's
The
in
drive
the
is
Empire
the-
Center.
Yeah.
Much easier parking side of the parking lot to navigate.
Well, I drive in the back of the Walmart. I do a little parking.
I know
hack.
about the back of the buildings. Yeah.
And if you're going to Staples for any reason, then you can drive around the whole back of the shopping center.
Yeah.
And get around the Best Buy and then drive. So you know all this.
Oh, I know
as far
because
as
I used to
parking.
walk. I used to walk it.
Right.
I worked at the office building, and so I would walk behind all the businesses and walk back. Was like a mile and a
Right.
quarter.
This is
or
when
so.
I visited you at work one day, and I wanted to go to Hometown Buffet, and you said, "I'm not spending $8 for lunch."
Yeah.
Yes. There's a Jason quote.
I think I've told that story on the podcast, but maybe years ago.
Well,
That
I'm not a big,
5-timer's welcome anytime.
Yeah.
You're
Well-
always. Hey, I'm up for a 7th time. On that.
Sure.
There was no way though we were spending anything less than $6.
Huh?
It wasn't like we were going to
No.
go have like dollar hot dogs somewhere.
Well, also, I don't know that buffet. Like, I don't know. Is the food that good at home?
No, but it was
okay.
funny if we did it.
Oh, okay.
It's a
can get,
solid
like,
point. Yes,
you
I
can-
don't know that the food is.
No, it's usually bad, but there's an icy machine usually at those Hometown buffets, and you can get unlimited icy. Now that's a deal. Jason, you could have gotten like a big, I don't know, gallon jug of icy.
I like half a cup of icy.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
But I'm saying you could have like taken it home and put it in the freezer.
that's true. Yeah, they
Now,
love
this would be
giving
the
to-go options.
I
at
know that
buffets.
Jason likes to save desserts and have them after the fact, but the saved icy is the grimmest thing I've ever heard.
It
That
does
is
not
like
keep.
like only like the most like you need to be like at death's door and like all of your retirement has run out. Like
Yeah.
every cent counts.
So where someone would say like, "Oh, I get the very big icy and I drink half and I save the rest for the next morning." You'd be like, "I don't know if you."
Look,
It's a
It makes you happy,
sad
Grandma.
sentence. Yeah.
some days you gotta leave yourself a little treat to get out of bed next morning, especially working one of those cubicle jobs. You know,
Like
that's-
you.
do an
you did.
email job. Yeah,
I'm going my cubicle, aka my research fort.
The
We got
no,
Runaway
do
railway
not.
stuff
No,
going
no.
on.
I love my research course. This is different. This is different. It was very gloomy. There were a lot of layoffs.
You were
at
in the
the
basement.
time.
You were in the basement, right?
No,
Oh, I thought
that
you worked in
office
the
building
basement.
was brand new.
Oh, I thought you worked in the basement for some reason.
No, I did not work in the basement. I worked in the vault for a few years.
Maybe you said vault, and I imagine vault is in the basement.
No, they just massive tape vaults. Like
Yeah,
the various
okay.
rooms were full of massive tape
When you
vaults.
listeners, when you hear vault, do you think basement? I guess not necessarily. 'cause
Doesn't
a bank
have
has
to
a
be.
vault.
No.
It
It
could
makes
be in the
sense. I
back.
can see why you pictured it, but
Yeah.
no, I don't think it's required to be. Oh yeah, banks are mostly ground level
Right.
vaults, I would think. Well, here we're doing a great job of keeping this podcast about extraneous bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
Even in the face of the challenge of talking about a big ride that people are excited
That's
about.
right.
How was it to be back? I know you
Oh,
were tired.
yeah.
Did you still manage to have some fun?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I went on like a couple things. I sat. You chill out. You have some food. It was good to be back. The crowds are just as bad as ever. It's not like there's no difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did Guardians. Toontown, which is a place I don't even go very. You don't usually go in Toontown. I mean, obviously
skip
we'll
it
be going-
entirely. It's kind of
Yeah.
an inconvenient corner of the park.
It was good. I like, there was some snark. We'll talk about the grass maybe now, or do we hold that?
I
You have
I've
grass
got the big
content?
bold word grass.
Yeah, because
in
we have
my-
to talk about the grass.
Yes.
You bolded grass. I bolded March 4th, 2020 because it is such a if it had been a month or two earlier, that still would have not been great. But it was just so
Extremely
so
close. That's
close.
the way. I didn't realize.
Yeah, I didn't.
For a joyous ride, the most like fun,
Yeah,
silly
yeah.
celebration ride, and then sorry, pandemic shut you down.
Yeah.
The sun can't smile anymore.
No more smiling sun.
You were saying though, going to
Yeah, the
Toontown.
grass. I completely forgot they put the coat on Jessica Rabbit.
I forgot about the coat.
Did you forget about the
I
coat?
forgot about the coat too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ride's not open. You can't see the coat right now, can you?
Right.
Can you?
Oh, is the ride? I didn't go on the ride, but I was just going through stuff to prepare for today, and then
Yeah.
there was some stuff about the Roger Rabbit. I forgot about the coat.
Jessica Rabbit, no longer a femme fatale, now a disgusting peeper in the bushes with her trench
Like
coat
a peeping
and nothing
Tom.
else.
A peeping
Yeah.
Tom. So they put, if you don't, maybe we've talked about this before, they put a trench coat on Jessica Rabbit to cover her up, which I
They
don't know.
fixed sexism with that move. Finally, we've all known that Jessica Rabbit was the source.
Might have been well intentioned, but I think it's a weird puritanical move to
And
cover
also very
up
like
a lady.
Yes, extremely. And you're on board with that, but
Well, yeah, the reason they did it is because I went to City Hall every week and complained that this woman is her ample bosom is exposed.
that doesn't mean you wanted a full. You
No.
didn't need a head to toe trench coat. You just
No.
wanted like a turtleneck.
A turtleneck or a nun's habit, anything just to help the problem along. So
Trench coat, ridiculous. No, this character, Jessica Rabbit, is a character with no agency. She needs to work for a detective agency. This has fixed the agency issue.
I don't know.
What are they saying
I don't
about
know. There's
if
still-
she's wearing a sparkly dress?
I
that
would have
means-
fixed the Native American representation on Peter Pan before I would have covered up Jessica Rabbit. That seems. I don't know.
By fixing, you mean just like taking a hammer to the entire sequence and throwing it in the garbage?
Well, sure, yeah.
Sure.
It's an easy fix.
Or put them all in trench coats.
We've got it up on the screen, and
Yeah,
The cartoon version of it.
yeah.
Why? What's this? What does this do?
I'm not sure. Again, maybe well intentioned, but Jessica Rabbit's like a fully fleshed out character who does stuff in the movie and has a fun personality.
And there's no shirt collar, so it does look like she's wearing a trench coat with nothing else.
So she's a flasher.
That is true. Yeah,
so let's get that evening gown out of there. Put her in just a trench coat and give her a hat.
So, so anyway, I don't know. Maybe good intentions, but it's a bit silly. When I was refreshing myself on Toontown in general is when I came upon this.
Oh my god, I haven't seen this picture.
It's like she's in a yellow like
Dick Tracy.
Well, she's in Dick Tracy or like I guess French Stewart in the Inspector Gadget movie is not in a yellow coat. He's in the traditional.
I know what you mean, though. It feels more like French Stewart Inspector Gadget than Matthew Broderick Inspector.
Yeah, I don't know
Gadget.
why that is, but
It's a
because I've
little-
never
this
seen
is
it.
a straight-to-video trench coat, is what.
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
looking at.
yeah. So
Those eyes. This is a weird-looking animatronic too.
Yeah. So
Don't know about this. So that's a recent change to Toontown.
yeah.
that
So I was
you're
just
iffy
refreshing
about.
myself on Toontown and because a lot of it's still closed and they're like the left side of Toontown is closed basically.
Yes, there's this greater revamp occurring, and I remember thinking, wait, this ride opens in January, but Toontown doesn't open till March. That's strange. How's that going to work? And this has happened before. This is what it was like in Tomorrowland while most of the land was down, but they just kept like a long, weird walkway entirely boarded up all the way to Space Mountain. So you get real claustrophobic, and it's not like that. It's pleasant over there. They've opened like 30% of Toontown, the 30% that contains this new ride.
Yeah. So it felt. I will say Toontown felt, even though it was mostly closed, it felt alive in a way.
Yeah.
I don't because the music is very now similar to the ride, so that's kind of piped in, and that kind of gives it a different vibe. And the grass, I guess we could talk about the grass now.
Talk about the grass.
The grass is good.
Yeah. Well, let me explain.
But you
the
go
grass.
ahead, yeah.
So let me weave the grass narrative. So this broader renovation of Toontown that's happening A lot of it is taking what was kind of concrete areas, and they had statues instead. In this case, it was a Roger Rabbit fountain in a concrete area, and they're fixing that there was this trolley that hasn't run for a long time, the Jolly Trolley. We're gonna take those tracks out and put in more green spaces for families to run around and kids to run around. That sounded nice to me. That seemed fine.
Yeah.
Then we got our first look at the grass, at any of this grass. And Jordan, if you have a photo just called the grass, perfect, thank you. This is one of the views that we saw before going there in person. And let's be honest, in the concept art, which I should have brought, but in the Toontown concept art, it looks like these rolling hills that are full of magic that kids would tumble down. And what opened is we're looking at two cartoon street lamps that don't match the grass, then a real tree, not a cartoon tree. And then a lot of people said it online, and Erin said it when I showed this to her, that it looks like at the airport where dogs go to the bathroom.
Absolutely, it does.
A giant version of just the big fake grass. It is very fakey grass, and there was a very, very unflattering before and after, where before was a whimsical Roger Rabbit fountain, and then what we get is this big, or not even that big. It's it seems like a modest, a slightly bigger than average backyard's worth of fake grass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask a thing about the grass?
Yeah.
It's for sure AstroTurf. You were there.
Now
you
we've both
stood
been
on
to
the
grass.
grass.
Yeah, it is fake grass.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I heard one of the defenses of it, which not quite sure why anyone was bothering with that. But one of the defenses were parents, kids area for them to run around and people to sit down. And it's just the more I thought about that position, the more I was thinking, right?
Yeah, look at this, rolling meadows. This looks like pure magic, just the childhood destination of your dreams. And then look in the lower right corner. There's big, huge trees providing so much shade. Yeah. And it looks like there's some sort of what are those multicolored things? Jason might not have a view of this. Do you see what are those little tents? Are they
something
little
to play?
cartoon mailboxes?
Yeah, it looks like something to play with. And there's a rolling hill. There's a rolling kind of hill. There's definitely elevation.
Yes.
On the hill.
Elevation. Yes, and then you cut back to just the flattest. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
So Jason, you were saying.
Well, a couple of things sprung to mind the more I thought about it. One, AstroTurf occasionally heats up in the sun, gets a little hot and plasticky in the sun. Two, let's say everyone's hanging out and popping a squat, getting comfy.
Just
Just getting comfy on the ground.
The stitch came out in there.
I at the end of the day, it's AstroTurf, so they can take a bunch of garden hoses and hose it, because it's going to get filled with weird little chunks of food and dirt. Oh. And
you're saying it's going to get dirtier?
It's going to get
grass?
nasty. Oh, it's going to get so nasty. Grass people would have just been just grabbing chunks of it. I feel like
I'm taking this home. I'm gonna sell this on eBay. Real Disneyland grass.
There's a reason. There's a fence behind all this. The other thing.
What do you mean? What
is that reason?
What is the reason?
What's the reason?
If that guardrail was not there, people would just climb over and just fuck around on the other side of it.
Well, they can't. There's
but
not
they
really
can just
much
come to the other side.
There's not really much on the other.
Why does the rail help?
So people aren't climbing over it. I'm talking liability. There needs to be a rail.
That's not new, though, is it?
Yeah, that was there before.
No, and that's fine. But I'm saying, actual plant life. If people could just go and climb those hills by whatever's back there, people would. People would climb that. Children would.
But again, the rail is not new. The rail was always
you're
stopping
hung up
people
on the
from
rail.
going.
No, but I'm curious.
You brought up
what
the
is
rail.
your point?
Why am I hung up on the rail?
I'm curious what your point
I'm
is.
just saying, real plant life could get destroyed by people trampsing over it all day long.
Sure.
In the same way, okay, that railing is very clear. Do not go further than this. Do not go.
The railing
past
that has been there for 30 years.
Yes. But even besides that, the bigger thing, There are two of the saddest benches I have ever seen. I feel
don't
like
match.
that don't
color-wise.
match. I don't quite understand
I
why
hate to
that
go
is
back
not
real
all
quick.
bench.
I
Yeah.
hate to go back real quick. Were you saying they're damned if they do, damned if they don't in regards to it's going to be bad if it's AstroTurf, it's going to be bad if it's real plant life?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a
Okay.
consideration.
I
don't know that I'm saying it should have been grass. I mean, I probably wouldn't have thought about this at all if not for the previous concept art where they're showing like massive amounts of green space, you know?
Well, let me get into why this is all come up. And if you follow us on Twitter, you may have seen this. So, we've recently been noting that some of Universal's announcements and innovations have been more exciting and more ambitious than Disney's recent news and announcements. So I tweeted the joke, hey, let's look at Disney and Universal's new themed lands. And side by side, I put Super Nintendo World and the grass. And our audience, you listeners who we love, got the joke, liked the joke. Most importantly, moved on from the joke. I imagine all of you going like, kept going. Then I leave the computer for a while, and I come back to a lot more alerts than usual, and I discover that we are in mid-cancellation by Diz Twitter, and every...
Don't say Diz Twitter. Don't give the people the satisfaction.
What do you mean? Why not?
Don't.
I think that's absolutely what it is, because I don't consider our listeners Diz Twitter. I get this type of person. This is Diz Twitter, my friend.
That's fine.
Who are all and I'll show you what
He's using it as in a bad way.
Yes,
no, I get it. I just like, I forget about that phrase, and then I see it, and I'm like, guys,
we must remember the phrase so that we're different, so that we're better, so that we rise above Diz Twitter.
Sorry, I spend plenty of time online researching the parks, but I spend most of my time in General Mills Twitter, okay? Gen Mill Twit, you know?
Just looking for Booberry hot takes. No, so like suddenly all these replies, always from people who do not follow us, who have never interacted with us before, and just to cherry pick a few, it's bad take, bizarre take. This post is so lazy. This is lazy. Well, you're right, but that's when you have an observation and you write it down. Yeah, it doesn't take a lot of work. This is not a fair comparison. Actually, what you've done is picked the worst view, and if you turn your camera around, what you will see is that I didn't take the picture. I can't turn my camera around. I saw a photo of grass, and it looks like boring grass. And then a lot of people, and then it's not a new land, it's a rethemed land. And honestly, open park grass is so rare in a theme park that I welcome
Still rare,
this change.
apparently. Still rare if it's AstroTurf. If you turned the camera around, you would have just seen particle board construction walls. Like, that's what you say if you turn the camera around.
What does that look? I don't know. Any view of this grass should be like, of course, when you choose the view of the grass, that's the bad view. But if you use the good view, it will be a good view. What do you mean? I haven't been in the grass. I saw one photo of the grass. Like this is the enemy. What Jordan has brought up. There's a little Twitter bird with mouse ears, and this is the problem.
Well. It seems like times like this, we'd all be much better off with unannounced tweet limits of like, you sent 2 tweets today. Slow down.
Yeah,
asshole.
I tried to make a joke today, and then it was like, you have reached your tweet limit for the day. What? There's a tweet limit? Have I tweeted anything today? I think we tweeted 3 things. As far as I knew, there was not a limit that was 3.
Yeah.
But then what you have to do is just schedule a tweet 1 minute in advance, and that's fine. You can do that forever. But what in the world? What is happening to Twitter? But anyway, and here's what it built up to. And this wasn't. Actually, one more that I like. Toontown is notorious for being a concrete jungle, and
where dreams are made of.
Notorious, a concrete where dreams are made of. Yeah. Which isn't that's a beautiful thing. A concrete jungle is a nice thing, like New York City or Buena Park.
That's right.
Notorious. I mean, it's like you pretty much you got San Quentin. And you got Toontown, like in terms of just yards that are, where you got children have been afraid of getting curb stomped in Toontown for many years, and finally they've made it impossible, and I for one welcome it.
the rise of film noir in America. You know, it's movies like The Naked City or The Stranger, and then it ends with Toontown, 1994's Disney's Toontown.
Anyway, what it then builds to, and Jason, you kind of alluded to this, is that like, and this wasn't a response to us. This was a response to other people who posted almost no comment with just pictures of the grass. Childless dorks will never understand the benefit to parents of the simple pleasures in a busy place of a plot of grass. Just a place where a child can roam free and just be themselves. Like, how are we? We've become Walt Whitman about a plot of fake, about a putting green that has been open for less than 24 hours. Just a simple place.
300 feet of a putting green.
Is this not what makes America great? I think of Yosemite, and I think of the Grand Tetons, and this plot of grass. This is what our country is made of.
Wishful thinking too, of like, well, their reality is going to be filled with, crushed cheese crackers and the smell of soiled diapers within 1 hour of the land opening. That is what the garden hose allotment in the budget is
that's
for.
That's why, yeah. Push it out. But when I hear this, that childless dorks will not understand grass, I have a child. I was a childless dork. I'll give you that. That's how we got into this podcast. But I have a child, and I have been to 1, if not 2, if not 3 parks every day for the last 2.5 years. You know, parks, like real places with grass that are beautiful, that are made organically, and that have like built up nature and culture over the year, that are like genuine places with lots of space for kids to run around and, you know, things to do. Like last I checked, kids like swings and slides and, you know, stuff. Like that's what the one thing kids like is stuff. and when I'm looking at this plot of grass, I don't know that it has a lot of stuff.
There's not a lot of stuff. Yes.
So this is just if you don't agree with the joke, that's one thing. But now you are telling me that I don't understand grass,
the concept of grass.
You don't. I guess you don't. I guess you're just Mr. Big City. Do you remember what this is? Are we so cynical? This is called a blade. And all of life comes from this. Don't you see?
But where are the country mice to go? They were already run out when the orange groves were taken away.
This is all we have now. It's a tribute to Anaheim's past. Anyway, with all this, I needed to check out the grass for myself. Trying to have a picture of myself on the grass. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm getting my head around the grass. What happens is then my son is let loose on the grass, runs around playing, happy. I pick him up. We start doing like our favorite game, like the kinds of like spin around games that we love. He loves the grass. It's the happiest he's been all morning. Aaron loves the grass.
Wow.
We turn to each other and we both say, all right, the grass is good, isn't it? After all that, okay, the grass is good. Maybe the grass is good. Mike, you felt similar?
Well, I said
Look at this. Oh, this is my son squishing my face on the grass. Like his personality was coming out. He really was like wound up. He was so happy on the grass.
I came into the land and I immediately looked over and there were just children just running back and forth.
Hurrah!
The hills, the lack of hills were alive with the sound of children laughing, and parents were sitting. They were watching the children. It didn't look as bad.
Yeah.
No, I have to admit that too. It photographed badly. This nonsense about but it's the bad view of the grass. That's bullshit. There's no good. It just looks kind of weird in a lot of pictures. But when you're there, now I see.
Seeing the fun. Obviously, they could have done a better job with it.
This is what. Yes, the children would not be upset if it was like a little landscaped hill.
Yeah, and it's Disney. Yes, but when I went over there, the grass was a big hit with a lot of people.
I have to admit, I wanted to do the build-up with the monologue. I wanted to get the rant out of my system. I still feel everything I felt in the rant.
Sure.
Here's my ruling: grass, good. Diz Twitter, bad.
Okay, that's
Well,
fair.
and let's see what happens when you add a few more dozen people hanging out on that grass.
We'll
you
see.
know,
The
we'll
bets are
see.
It's going to turn into
also-
Altamont. It's going to
it's
turn
going to
into
turn into Altamont. Look, Disney's been saying for a long time.
Jason
we
is
need
still
to
anti-grass.
We need to let children run in the theme
there's
parks
more-
a little more. Children love running by the concrete.
There's more. As long as the green space opens on the other side.
It's just if that green space should be better. It should not be big putting greens.
It cannot be another big putting green because I think it will make the whole of Toontown seem bad. Because this is just a little chunk when you come in on the right. So when you look over, you're not really seeing that it's AstroTurf. You're just seeing people sitting and playing, and you still see Roger Rabbit, and you still see all the stuff. So yes, it cannot be putting green on the left. So we'll see.
Eyes are on the next batch of grass. The next batch of grass is where we will really make the grass determination.
Yeah, we will do a new Toontown episode, I think, when it's open to
so.
make the determination.
I don't have a pass. I mean, do I have to get a pass just to see the grass?
You do. A lot of them have already sold out again.
God. I know. I tried to I had a 1-day pass, and I tried to renew, and it said, "Would you like the Inspire?" And I thought, that's the one I had, right? The cheap one? No. I had Imagine. Inspire is extremely expensive.
That's the expensive one.
Wow.
Yes.
I am glad I didn't just squint at a word that starts with an I and ends with an E and buy it. And then when I saw it's only $140 a month after the down payment.
Ooh, you can buy a lot of grass seed for that money.
We can plant this magical grass that is suddenly so important to every these. You know what it is mainly is this word take, because and this is where listeners, I love you because you knew it was a joke. And then Diz Twitter is like, actually, joke is not a thing. There are takes, and that is what everything is take. So get your facts straight because you wrote a take. It was a lazy take.
I know people were. I tweeted there was a pic. I was watching the Indiana Jones trailer, and there's a picture where Harrison Ford's on a horse, and it's not him because the horse is going nuts, and it's a CGI Harrison Ford head. And I was just watching it, and one of the screens popped out of me as it's funny because his head looked tiny because it's been superimposed on this body. And I posted a photo of it with a joke or whatever. And somebody's like, "What? You want an 80-year-old man to be riding a horse?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yes," and I want him to get hurt again.
I want Harrison Ford's bones cracking. That's what I want. That's what you, Taskmaster Mike, demands.
Somebody was like, "Nerds should never have had a pause feature or something," and I was like,
What?
What are you talking about? And someone's like, this CG, blah, blah, blah. CGI is fine if you don't nitpick it or something. And I was like, I don't care. I thought it was funny. It was not even
a big missing point. I know that it sounds like I care about the grass because I just yelled about the grass for 10 minutes, but hopefully in the interest of being funny. This is what the take and the joke people miss.
Yeah.
They think that you have initiated a debate.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, this goes one way. You know how in a comedy club you have a microphone and you talk? Not that we know.
Sure.
We're not stand-ups. Not yet. We're getting there.
We're building up to it.
But
we're working on being truth tellers, and then we'll get to that level.
Well, I think we could get on Club Random with that Jessica Rabbit take we just had.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
oh my God, that Harrison Ford is. Just to pick that apart. Also,
Yeah.
that person has come out. Their take is anti-pause button.
I
think they should have never. The pause button is the worst. Some people say there never should have been an internet. How it's divided us. I say it's the pause button. VHSs shouldn't have had them. They shouldn't have them on film sets. Those two little lines are the death of culture.
you can pick apart, CGI now, which is bad. And then some people are always making a point about CGI, and I'm like, I don't know.
There
it is.
There it is. Oh, as I said it, I was trying to make sure that it was the right thing, but no, it is.
5 likes on that. Who are these 5 likes? They don't listen to podcasts the
I
right.
don't
I guarantee
care.
you
It was
that.
funny. His head was small. It just looked funny. It looked like a funny picture. What can I tell you?
You know what I saw when I saw that? I saw one perfect shot. It should have been on the Twitter. One perfect shot.
Well, that is one that we're like, okay, this got out of hand really fast. That is the TriStar logo. That is played before a lot of movies. Jordan, I just emailed you a picture, if you could throw it up, because we're talking about Indiana Jones. This is the cardboard standee I was
What?
for it. No, this is the cardboard standee for Indiana Jones. I sent this to Mike because I was at the movie seeing Megan. Megan, very good, very fun. She's a little creep. She's a little creepo. Yeah, this is similarly to like they kind of didn't go all the way with this. The CGI, some of the marketing material leaves a little to be desired. I mean, Dial of Destiny, I think.
Jason,
is a
be careful. You're going
bonkers
to get
title.
some
begin
blowback from
with.
whatever this is about to be.
Oh, that's great. I have all notifications turned off except text messaging and phone calls. So I'm sorry if did you get all those podcast, the ride, Twitter, like reply notifications? Do you have because you always have notifications on for apps, remember?
I think I might have some notifications turned on.
But for Mike, that's you dump
That's my lifeblood.
Yeah, you dump a bucket of water into the Mississippi River.
Yeah, that keeps me going.
That's your notification.
That kept me going when I was tired on Monday walking around because I hadn't walked around in so long.
It's for your crank.
It's my
you just
crank.
need hits of
from
notifications to get the adrenaline up.
Yeah. So, I like it, is what I'm saying. But no, I don't. I'm overwhelmed more by deals being notifications.
Mm-hmm. Drop
than
everything.
anything else.
Yeah.
Is it tough for you to do these podcast records where that's 2 hours at least?
Where I might miss
where
a
you
deal.
Can't, yeah,
I
you
have
miss a lot
missed.
of-
I have missed deals from doing the podcast. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah.
Do we need to end it? Do we need to end it just so that you can, or just give you the ability to still be checking the deals while we record?
There's a new guy I follow that's got such good deals that maybe because of this new Twitter account, Deal Vibes.
Well, that turn it on for text messaging. You
All
turn
right,
that on
Deal
for text
Vibes
messaging.
overrides. Let's set it up, Jordan. We'll do this here at Forever Doug. Let's patch Deal Vibes right into the podcasting gear so that like there's just a robot voice reading Deal Vibes.
Mike,
Yeah, that'd be
Mike gets Deal Vibes notifications. Scott's get Scott Gustin notifications, so you can actually learn when magic keys are on sale because Disney is no help.
That's true.
Alerting people. This is the
I guess go back to
standee.
Jason, what is your issue
What's your
with
problem
this?
here?
It's
Looks
just
like an
like
Indiana Jones
it's just kind of
poster.
him in the shadows. There's like nothing about this movie. It's just a logo, and then he's like just hanging out in darkness. Like most of this standee is darkness.
Maybe he's in a cave.
that's the
lava's
tiny
pouring
idea.
behind him. Maybe he's in a gold smelting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have such an
facility.
issue with that standee there.
It just seems like nothing. It just seems like
well, it's just whetting your,
like a
whetting your
stand-in
appetite
took
to
a
see
photo.
the old man again.
I guess so.
It lets you know he's not shaven.
All right.
He's got a real stubbly chin, so maybe he's had a rough run of time.
And you don't know-
He tries calling Mutt, and Mutt doesn't call him back.
Right, and you don't know what he's looking at. What he's doing with his hands. Is
I
he
mean, I
turning a
guess that's
dial?
true.
Is he turning a dial
Might
left? Is
have
he
the
turning it
dial in
right?
this picture.
He's reading a newspaper that says Mutt Williams causes Gulf of Tonkin incident, sentenced to life in jail. War in Vietnam begins.
Isn't that? Isn't it more fun to use your imagination, Jason?
I suppose. I
Yeah.
suppose.
So
You know, childless dorks will never understand the benefit of just a simple teaser standee.
that's right.
Well, but I've got disposable income to spend on all the grass, seed, and sod that I could need.
I don't have a Twitter account that gives me updates on sod deals, but I should.
Oh, Sir Sod? You
Yeah.
don't follow Sir Sod?
Sales on sod.
Sales
sod
on sod.
sales, in fact.
All right.
All right.
All right, let's
Mickey
talk
Mouse,
about-
Mickey Mouse.
All right,
good
all right.
thing.
Yes, from the grass to the ride. If you don't know, there is a ride past the grass, and it's brand sparkling new, looks wonderful, a great exterior in Disneyland. The full story here, if you don't know it, there has never been a Mickey and Minnie ride before. There's not really been a ride with the primary characters as far as I can recall.
No,
unless
there's-
maybe they appear in little fits and starts.
There's never been something where you get in a ride vehicle that moves that has Mickey and Minnie in it, because they have the Mickey Mouse Review, which is a show basically in Disney World. But yeah, this is the
Philhar Magic or something. But
Yes.
yes, a ride, and the ride's going to take you to see Mickey. This has never happened.
Little great movie where I Sliver had Sorcerer Mickey. But that was
Oh,
just
that's
a-
true. Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's
Fantasia scene. Oh, that's a good point.
But
Yeah, yeah,
Disney
there was
is selling this as like, the first full Mickey Mouse ride.
that actual
Yes.
Mickey Minnie ride.
Yeah.
And specifically, it is the style of these shorts that we've spoken very highly of that I think are just called Mickey Mouse, or they've put them out under different names. But these wonderful, visually dynamic, super manic, really funny for all ages shorts that have been coming out since 2013. Paul Rudish, the creative force behind them. And I mean, what a cool... it's going to be a Mickey ride, but attributing this world of animation,
and they're like
because there's something
weird cartoons too.
They're weird. I have a few things on that. Todd Martin's mentioned that like, oh, this ride is more like a screwball 1930s cartoon short. I do wonder when I read that, it's like, oh, is that what's missing from a lot of popular movies and TV? It's like, oh yeah, well, we don't have screwball like. Just see like John Cena like holding too many plates or like getting knocked by a door and falling downstairs.
He butt chugs and blockers.
Is
That's
that
screwball.
blockers? I think
Screwball.
is a thing that people liked. Like there was like crazy antics and that.
Yeah, screwball is. Let's ask the audience: is blockers screwball?
Is blockers screwball?
Blockers screwball.
I don't. I guess
there's screwing.
There's
in
screwing.
it, and there's balls in it.
Well, not
but
if
is
they
it
have their
screwball?
druthers.
Was there any
Not
butt?
enough.
Did
The
Hepburn
blockers get their way.
Did Hepburn or Tracy butt chug in any of their films? No.
Just to prepare for the scenes.
Yeah,
to
just-
get their
that was
adrenaline.
that was a medical procedure.
Just constantly drinking off screen and on. So the shorts, okay, they are just called Mickey Mouse from 2013 to 2018 was the first run. And then in 2020, they've referred to them as the Wonderful World of Disney. They started, or the Wonderful
Mickey.
World of Mickey Mouse. Paul Rudish has a very interesting career, a lot of work with Genndy Tartakovsky. I think that's how you say that. He worked on the Star Wars Clone Wars. Early in his career, he worked in storyboard and character development on Batman the Animator series.
Jeez, that's a huge one. Incredible crash. Shows people love.
Unfortunately, found out he's a freaking Nepo baby. He's a Nepo baby.
Oh wow, I didn't know.
His father created Rainbow Bright.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
There's
Rainbow
Nepo
Bright is
babies. That maybe we finally found the point where I am bothered by the phrase because if there's talent but I think what people maybe miss about Nepo baby is what is being implied is that the baby is not very talented.
Oh, sure.
If the baby is talented, there is not a problem.
Yeah, that becomes a dynasty.
Yeah. Those happen. There's very stacked, which this is incredible. If that's a like animation legend father and son, and God knows, this guy's worked on incredible stuff. My Little Pony as well, like kind of concurrently with these Mickey Mouse shorts. People love My Little Pony. Samurai Jack, Powerpuff Girls, like it's all stuff people super love. And I saw there was a panel, I think, that Rudish spoke on about this attraction, and he made a point I thought was interesting, which is how, like, there's a cool thing that, this isn't a ride based on stuff that was made 20 years ago, and we're sort of like stabbing at a style that hasn't, like, these are very current, and it is the artists and animators and voice actors and everybody who works on their shorts putting the ride together. So there's a real, like, direct through line, like the vibe is exactly correct. And he pointed out how it's actually very early Disneyland that is the case, because in 55 you have like Claude Coates and those kind of people. They're like Claude Coates is painting the Snow White background or whatever, and he did the background of the movie too.
Oh, sure.
So it's actually like hearkening back to kind of a cool, tradition that maybe Disney's not had for a little bit.
Yeah, it's like the same people were. I mean, I'm trying to think. Yeah, they don't. I guess like Guardians of the Galaxy's new newish movie, and it's a newish ride, obviously. But it's
and
not
Avatar is like the Avatar people.
But it's as far as the animated stuff, it feels like that hasn't happened for a while.
Have we? By the way, I haven't said this on the show. I don't think that this victory that I had that I'm very proud of, that the composer of Way of Water, but also I think at least one of the writers of the Shaman of Songs song liked my Payacon song. I was beaming about that.
That's great.
He gave replied several times to my account to Podcast the Ride. Yes, I guess I'm in the same league as Simon Franklin.
composers.
Simon Franklin, I think.
Just 2 Avatar composers talking shop
Franklin.
on Twitter.
Simon Franklin. Yeah, that freaked me out.
That's
that
a
was
good,
incredible.
That's a good Twitter notification.
You know, that's why
yes,
Twitter
that's why
sold.
you have to keep it.
That's why Twitter sold for so much money. You got the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, you know, happening all at once.
Oh, wait, that was a high of high. That means the devil's coming for me.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
watch out.
And he's going to be in a cheap-looking naughty devil outfit that he got at a costume store.
By the way, really, here, let's try to not stay on this for too long, but this is kind of fresh in the news that Iger announces there is an Avatar something.
Oh, right.
Experience, he says, coming to Disneyland. And we were texting about this today. Mike took the, you could say pessimist, you could probably say realist view, that you think this is not a flight
Well, I
of
think you would have said
passage.
attraction if it was going to be a cloned attraction. I've seen a lot of people online say, oh, this is going into the ESPN zone, and it's like a walkthrough. I think there's one in, is it Shanghai? There's one of the parks has like a walkthrough attraction.
Oh, no.
That's just sort of like
Hong Kong, maybe?
Maybe it's Hong
has
Kong.
it.
There's
Yeah.
a very elaborate, exhibit.
And it's just like sort of an exhibit thing. I there was another part of that where they said they were exploring other ways to get the characters in, but I feel like he's saying attraction. Plus, they cut like $700 million out of their theme park budget, I believe, as well. They said on this call today.
Oh, good.
And they're laying
and fire a
7,000
bunch of
people off.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it's not we're getting any part of Pandora anytime soon, but I hope I'm wrong.
I think they should kill 2 birds with 1 stone, make it the ESPN zone, locate it on Pandora. You know?
Oh, yeah. That's yeah. I think that's actually a very good idea. Rainforest Cafe is still open as Star Wars, like what I don't know if they're calling it Launch Bay, but it's the Rainforest Cafe is now like a Rebel base.
Oh, yeah. Is it like a trading post or something?
Yeah, that's what they
Yeah.
So then Pandora will be next door probably at the ESPN zone.
That'd be the dream of the humans for sure, of Miles Quaritch, is opening an ESPN zone on Pandora.
You could see
We gotta civilize this place. There's too much grass.
see Navi Sports playing. You know, that would be fun.
We're gonna represent the local. We're gonna air local games. It's
Yeah.
gonna be great. I love it.
And we got an agreement with Caesar's Sportsbook. Those commercials play every commercial break.
Iger said that they're not going to sell ESPN, but that the previous administration was thinking about it, was looking into
Okay.
it.
Oh,
So Iger wants to keep ESPN.
okay.
He's intimidated by just the sheer presence of Dana White's slap fight on
Oh, yeah.
TBS.
Scott, are you familiar with this real
No.
quick?
It's really shocking, really unpleasant.
It's it's the guy who, the UFC guy, has a new thing, a new sports endeavor where 2 guys just stand and they just slap each other really hard. And
Sounds like the devil has come for all of the
guess
participants in the slap fight.
It's Dana White, so he might be the devil. So
possible.
You got me.
I was watching a walkthrough. There's a great account called Document Disney, and they just, do rides and lands and hotels and everything. And their current, from 2 days ago, their walkthrough of Downtown Disney is very funny because there's so much branding and statues for this Disney 100 thing, but a good chunk of Downtown Disney is construction walls and active construction sites. So it's just statues by we crammed a bunch of picnic tables for people to sit at if they go to the food truck. And the AMC Theater building is gone.
Oh, yeah.
It is
I
an
saw
empty
that.
lot.
I didn't see that. I mean,
Maybe it will become grass.
don't make fun of it, though.
Fingers crossed. Anyway, we got the personnel of these great cartoons, and this all sort of because it opens in Florida first, and I don't know, maybe the intention was always to make it like a multi-park franchise, but it seems like it initially must have grown out of wanting for some reason to replace the Great Movie Ride.
Yes.
If I still can't imagine why you'd want to do such a thing.
I think I was listening to a podcast. I'll find it and I'll plug it in a second because I can't remember it off the top of my head. But I think that was the initial thing, and then they were like, just when they designed it, they were like, well, we could also put this into Disneyland. So I think you're right. I think the start of it was like we want to replace the Great Movie Ride.
It was spurred by because you got a big footprint there, and like a if we clear everything out, that's like a tremendous amount of space, like giant rooms where you could do something sprawling,
right?
Which this attraction certainly is.
There were rumors for a while it was going into California Adventure. I don't know if that was ever possible, but I remember hearing that a lot, that they were going to put that on the lot in the Hollywood lot.
Oh, that's a good Hollywood choice.
Which would have been
something big to finally be good over there.
Disney History Institute podcast. Which I didn't know.
I like that website. Yeah.
Didn't even know existed until today when I was listening to this, and it's got a lot of the good history and of this ride and Mickey rides in general.
And without like a big screed against the grass, Dana White stuff.
Talk about the Jessica Rabbit trench coat. None of it.
All right, so if you want the pure...
We should have given the people this plug early in the show if they wanted to just go switch to something purely for information.
Just to, because we can like step through what's cool about this thing and the differences between the two iterations, but maybe just to like dive in and like emotional reaction from it. Let's just talk about like the basics of what this is. Which is, the headline of it and the technology of it is you are truly in the world of these cartoons. They use the phrase 2.5D. It is not a 3D ride. You don't wear glasses on this, but it is crystal clear, just immaculate footage that you're watching, and it's these giant expansive rooms that 360 degrees every way that you turn is just bright, splashy, dynamic, hand-drawn looking backgrounds, art, animation that let you into the world of these like madcap adventures of Mickey and Minnie.
Yes.
It's just like the most bright visual carnival of a ride. How do we all feel about it?
I rode this when my family and I were down in Florida. It was the first day. I think it was the first thing we rode because Rise of the Resistance was broken. So we went on this, which I had not seen anything about. I knew about the theater. I knew about you go into the screen. And I was delighted by this. I was shocked. I thought it was so fun. I thought it was so just neat. Like everyone really liked it. My family really liked it. I was singing that song to myself all week. The entire time we're there. The last day or second to last day we're there, we went back on Disney Plus Day. We went back to Hollywood Studios, and everything had a really long wait. But my dad and I like stuck it out and rode this again because like I am riding this again. I thought this was great.
Yeah.
I want to be like up to speed on it, and I just thought it's really technically impressive, and I think it's really fun. I think I would say more fun, like more bouncy, goofy fun than say like I don't want to start pitting it against like Rise of the Resistance. I think it's the best thing.
Go ahead.
I think it's the best thing Imagineering.
Wait, hold on. Let me do it. Do it.
It's easily more fun and at this point less work than Rise of the Resistance. I think it's the best thing Disney has done since like the year where they had Pandora and Guardians of the Galaxy, like within weeks apart.
Wow, crazy. Yeah, hard to argue that. Mike, what'd you think?
Yeah, it's great. I anything that I have as an issue with it is really minor, but it does. I don't know. It does everything you would want it to do. The technology, it's like, it's pretty much if you were completely anti-screen on rides, this would hopefully make you go, okay, well,
yeah. It does not have to be what we're accustomed to. It does not. It doesn't have to be what kind of worse era Universal. Why we started hating screen rides,
right? And I'm sure as screen resolution continues to improve, I feel like this is going to age much better than so much stuff. Like,
I think so.
Because
I hope so.
The way it's seamlessly integrated into 3D stuff in the ride and practical stuff is pretty seamless. Where I'm watching videos and I go, I think that might be painted, but I can't tell. Like, I feel like this might be just a painted wall. And I can't tell.
Yes.
And it's such a. And the thing is, we've seen certain things like the Harry Potter paintings in the queue or whatever, where you can't quite tell. But this is on such a scale
that every you can look any direction in any of these massive showrooms, and you're not exactly sure what
Yeah.
you're looking at. Like, is
Yeah.
every wall projected? Is only part of it projected? And the answer seems to be somewhere in between, or
Yes.
in some rooms it is entirely projected, but then it still requires big physical, because you want for there to be a big physical footprint and a little bit of thrill and movement, and it completely has that too, so you'd never call it a screen ride because you move a ton, and there's huge
Yeah.
set pieces and incredible like sculpture work, like that tornado towards the beginning.
Great.
And screen ride would be a bizarre thing to call it, even if it technically
is, yeah.
at some points.
But it's they're
Yeah, I don't know how they. I mean, I guess it's a lot of projection from inside things.
There's some of that.
Sometimes, yeah.
But the first time riding it, same thing. Could not tell like what is a set and what is. I knew I think I had heard about the fountain. Like there, you go by a fountain at one point, and the water is like projection. The water is moving, but I think the fountain is painted.
Yes, yeah, where there's like little ribbons,
Cute little arcs
that are
of
blank,
water,
but they project water splashes onto it to give it movement and visual electricity.
I think, and maybe I'm getting this wrong, but then like when you see like Donald at the carnival or something, like Donald is animated, but the background is not.
Or something back there isn't.
It's like his background is just a painted thing, but Donald himself is animated, and maybe it's like a piece of glass or something in between, or like there's some sort of thing going on there where like it completely confuses your brain, like you cannot decipher.
And you just saw it without any character before you, like when you arrive in the room, there's nothing, and then this room turns on as if like somebody's flipping switch.
Yeah.
And so surfaces that have nothing are now bright with color and visual information. In that case, I think like, and this happens a couple times, I think with the little bird at the end too. I watched a video that explained how there's there's the character on one screen, but then there's another screen in the back that is just for its shadow, and that gives it depth, which is I guess something they do in Rise of the Resistance too. Like maybe the torture room or whatever with Kylo Ren.
Oh yeah,
like that's something that makes it that gives it depth, and it doesn't just look like a screen with a character.
The
on it.
bird's
that's
name.
the screen pushes forward. Sorry, or no, wait, I forget. That's not the interrogation room, but that's like there's another element of when he's coming at you on Rise of the Resistance that I didn't know.
Oh, when he like lands,
He lands and he
before
walks.
the saber comes in from
That's
the
a projection of him, but I didn't realize the screen sort of thing that's he's being projected on is moving forward to make him appear like he's walking and getting bigger.
Oh, that's cool.
The bird is named Chubby.
Oh,
The little bird, and I remember that you can buy a plush of Chubby.
Oh, really?
At Hollywood Studios, and I'm assuming soon Disneyland.
Well, the
but
gift
it's on
shop
Shop Disney.
The gift shop was closed
Okay.
when I left.
Yeah, I don't remember a
It
gift
was sort
shop.
of
Yeah,
renovate. I think that's where the gift shop was, but sort of when you came out, there were a lot of curtains and stuff under whatever. So I guess the gift shop is not available. So again, we'll review that when we do Toontown. Yeah, I was trying to find. I wish there was like some blog or something where like they would literally break down each room of some of these newer rides, because so many of the older things have obviously books and stuff written about them, but
There's a channel called How It Works. I don't know if that's the channel, but the videos are called that, and which broke down some of this stuff,
Right.
And does for newer rides. But even there, then they'll admit they're
guessing. Yes, right,
because
right.
they're
That's what I
trying
mean.
to keep some of the. And this ride has some great effects where you are not sure exactly what's going on, and you have to stop and think about it for a minute. I guess with that in mind, let's start breaking down stuff in it that's cool. And one thing, like, okay, so Jason did it in Florida. Mikey did it in Disneyland.
Yes.
I've been able to do both.
Yeah.
And if you're comparing them, I think the only thing you don't want to be the Florida one is great. It's a great experience.
Yeah.
And you got to give it to I think that neon sign outside.
Oh, yeah,
is
yeah.
Really
really
good.
nice. And just the fact that the Chinese theater exterior and interior from the Great Movie Ride are still intact. It is really like lovely and ornate and classic Hollywood in there. However, you do this Toontown one, and oh my God, it's so much fun, and it just makes so much more sense.
Yes, it
that it's not
fits.
just like pure Chinese theater until one turn and finally it gets cartoony. It is cartoony from the get-go, from the outside.
Yeah.
It's so fun. I really love the Disneyland version.
Compared to the grass, the El Capitan, the theater in Toontown, looks terrific.
Yeah.
And also looks, I mean, I know they often do this, but it feels like it's been there forever.
It
in
makes
a good
so
way.
much
In a good
sense
way,
in
yeah.
which is nice because I wanted Toontown to still feel early 90s.
Yes, right,
That's what it is
yes.
to me, and it kind of does. And there's a
Yes.
lot of, as we'll mention, there's a lot of early 90s tributing
Oh,
going on.
sure.
Yeah.
The interior, like you said, kept like the Chinese theater. If you go to the actual Chinese theater, the TCL, is that the current name?
If you go there, you will get stabbed.
Potentially. A lot of it's very similar inside. It's really kind of a very tiny lobby. They've converted the theater itself to like stadium seating, IMAX, but a similar vibe to the Disney replica of the Chinese theater. And I like that. I will say the overflow queue is just on the kind of brutal cement outside of the theater, like, and it's not comfortable to stand on, and the elements are not forgiving.
Should be on some AstroTurf.
AstroTurf would be a godsend right
a
there.
notorious concrete jungle.
Yeah.
A notorious cement jungle. Yeah, I did it in July in 90-degree. I found that I had a screenshot of the temperature because I was clearly I was needing to vent to people what line I imposed on myself that I'm doing solo. But 90-degree and intense humidity, and it's most of an 80-minute line is just in that Chinese theater courtyard, just back and forth. And at that point in time, I am so sure I am getting the Delta variant right then and there, which I did not, but I was really stressed the entire time. Horrible.
Yeah.
So who knows? I don't know where they send the overflow in this Disneyland one because it's virtual queue, which worked pretty well. If you don't sleep through it, you
I had to do the 1 p.m. one.
you did get the 1 p.m. one.
Yeah.
That's a good set. The fact that that they aren't just all toast that early in the morning. I got on it and pretty early. I was on by 9:30 or so.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know, pretty efficient. It's not as bad as Rise of the Resistance was for so long.
No.
Yeah.
And
Pleasant experience.
you can pay $15 and do it.
Oh, that's true.
That keeps taunting you with that. You can pay right now, buddy.
As long as this.
Yeah.
But you get into the El Capitan Theater, a play on the El Capitan Theater, another Hollywood Boulevard theater, the one that Disney owns. And very quickly, it's all of these great movie posters that are it's all cartoonified versions of live action Disney films.
Yes.
You get a Newsies. You get I should have written down the puns. There's a Newsies. There's a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. There's a Mighty Ducks.
some of them
There's an Absent-Minded Professor. Throw out the pun ones.
There's
the
a
ones
ton.
that you
There's
like.
a ton of them too, which is fun.
I have photos of a few, although now I don't remember which. I think
Toonsies.
Toonsies. Wonderful.
That's cute.
Honey, I Shrunk the Nieces.
That's Minnie and her nieces.
Yeah. Let's see. Walt Disney. Goofy Friday, Freaky Friday.
Freaky for the 70s. Freaky Friday, where he and Max switch.
Absent-Minded Professor Von Drake. And they've really matched styles perfectly too for the original posters of
It
the
is
parody.
so. I really appreciated that level of okay, it is exactly like a 60s hand-drawn poster, and that there's a couple that I have. Jordan, if you could pull these up. There we go. There's the Scroogiest millionaire.
I mean, that's so great.
And that's a delicate thing to draw cartoon characters, but convey a different art style when it's all drawn. You got to get that exactly right, and fonts are perfect. So 1969, and actually there's another one. There's this Parent Trap one. You still have the Journey video game loader.
Hey.
Yay.
Well, now we know we can
Can't
just
be
hit
mad at that.
whenever we want. This here, the Chipmunk Trap, which is clearly the Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap. Which has, I always forget this is a Nancy Meyers movie.
Oh, right.
And thus it has a very Nancy Meyers poster. And I just appreciate that, wow, they can do 1969, closer to Walt era posters and then get kind of the subtlety of more recent Nancy Meyers posters so well. It's all ends of the spectrum. That other one in the middle that you had, Jordan, this is a Hocus Pocus parody called Miska Muska. And it's fun in general, but I don't have to admit this to the audience, but I feel like I should be forthcoming. I passed by this. I thought it was fun. And then I couldn't believe this came out of my mouth, especially given her reaction. But what I said to Erin was, I think the Sarah Jessica Parker Daisy is kind of hot.
Wow.
Can we get a zoom in on the
gosh.
Sarah Jessica Parker?
Computer enhanced.
Wow.
That is the most.
That, by the way, that is the most sexual thing that's ever been said on the show in like an aggressive way.
You found that aggressive? Jason, would you also vote that is aggressive
for this podcast?
I can see both sides of the island. I can see both sides of the. I understand where Mike's coming from, but I thought you said it pretty thoughtfully and considered.
That's right.
And,
I sure did. It's a compliment. It's a compliment to Sarah Jessica Parker-ified Daisy.
Yeah, you're talking about this specific version of Daisy.
I couldn't believe that. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been attracted to Daisy before.
Hair looks
something
great.
About
it's the hair.
Well,
you know what I think it is. Eyelashes are great.
You know
wardrobe's great.
You know what I think it is? It's the attitude.
Yeah,
which is really what's attractive about people. Often is the attitude. She's got a cool attitude going.
You know what else is weird though? I didn't specifically have a crush on Sarah Jessica Parker. I don't remember the name of that sister, but it's not like I'm bringing that into the picture. I didn't like Daisy and I didn't like Sarah Jessica Parker, but you put them together. And I'm in love.
Wow, interesting.
And my wife was like, ick.
Yeah, what else is she supposed to say?
Yeah. It's also rare that I will say that I will vocalize an attraction to like a celebrity, and what I chose to do it for was Daisy Duck.
I don't know. I kind of like the Kathy Najimy Clarabelle up there.
Oh yeah. No, all three of them have their virtues.
Well, you know me, I like the Midler Minnie.
Oh,
the best.
Well, there's three of them and three of us. Enough to go around.
It's not cheating if they're cartoons. That's what I say.
It's not cheating if it's impossible. It becomes cheating if we were to hit up people who make the action figures that you like and say, like, hey, could you do like some really realistic? Here's this poster. Could you just like physicalize these and make them as tall as us? How much would that?
Okay, well that's that is way different.
As long as we're not.
But if you went to some sort of an inventor and said, "Make us an invention, and we can go inside the cartoon." That's problematic.
Yeah. Would hall passes be okay in a world where you have a cartoonifying machine? Because that also, here's the issue though, Mike, is that you can get the invention that cartoonifies you.
Yeah.
Let's assume that's possible.
Right.
Does it make every cartoon that's ever existed real?
Well, that's up to the inventor to do it.
That's a lot of work. That's
a lot of work.
That is God. That is creating a universe.
Well,
thanks for the close-up.
Oh, that's good.
There's my close-up.
Well, hold on. I need some clarification from you, Scott. Yeah. They have had walk-around versions of these at some of the Halloween parties.
Have they?
Not of Daisy.
Yeah.
What?
All three of them.
These characters
this exists
have previously
as a character
played?
in 3 dimensions.
Oh my gosh!
Wow,
yeah.
What did you search to find this? Mickey's Not So Scary Hocus Pocus? Is that what
Hocus Pocus Minnie? Because the Sanderson sisters, the real ones, are also at the Halloween party too.
I bet Suit real life Daisy doesn't have the same attitude as this poster though.
Yeah, I'm looking at photos. I don't have the same. I don't have the same thing.
Lust. Yeah.
No. But if there was an opportunity for me to hug that character, I think this would be very upsetting to you, Mike. I think that is a cross of the line. You talk about aggression. I know you wouldn't be okay with me hugging that character.
I wouldn't be okay. Yeah, I would. Just don't show it to me. I'm fine with
whatever you do behind closed doors, by which I mean at a theme park with someone taking a picture of it.
Yeah. Oh, that would be different. Yeah.
You don't know how to describe it, but you know it when you see it.
Yeah. Huh. I didn't know. I'll say this. I don't think I immediately was attracted to any of the posters in line in that way.
Are there others?
I'm trying to think
That would
like
be candidates. Well, everybody likes that girl from
Goofy Movie, yeah. Because we were,
but
and again,
she's
we were
in
all the
high
same age,
school.
but we were all the same age
At the
when
time, yeah, you have to go back
we
to
saw
that.
the movie for the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
time. So I don't think that's
Younger even.
But
that was
in an-
aspirational
Yes, that's
when we're
true, yes.
11.
In another one of Mike's science fiction stories where scientists are inventing cartoon rays for him.
not for me, for
Roxanne,
anyone.
Roxanne is a high-powered, big city lawyer, and
You're saying I've worked out a scenario where she's now an adult and I'm an adult, and the inventor with the cartoon ray shoots me, and then I meet her in some sort of meet cute in the cartoon world in Toontown.
I'm imagining the Cartoon Ray series as a multi-volume, like, sort of thing. Like, you remember,
possibilities.
I'm sure you had this at your high school, the kid who was, like, writing, like, his own science fiction stuff, his own, like,
yeah,
and would start numbering his volume. He's like, okay, well, the next book in the series. And it's like, you are 11. Please slow it down.
Well,
No,
if a
it's ambitious. It's good.
If a listener wants to write this series of perverse cartoon podcast to ride fan
Jordan's
fiction.
giving us another option. It's Scrooge McDuck's wife or mom.
Oh yeah, what character is that?
I might know the name of this character because there's a if this is correct, because there is separately in Runaway Railway, there's like a trivia wall about like the history of the El Capitan. And I saw
yes.
a sign, and I didn't know what this was referring to. The very first ticket sold at the El Capitan was purchased by Casey Coote's sister, Elvira Coote. And I'm like, who's Elvira Coote? And Elvira Coote is apparently Donald Duck's grandmother, who does appear on DuckTales, maybe in flashbacks, or maybe still alive. I don't know. But it looked kind of like this may be Elvira Coote that we're looking at.
Well, but isn't Uncle Scrooge, is his uncle only one generation up? If his grandmother, it would be another generation up.
Yes, that might be what we're looking at. But they coexisted. They're around.
Is that Magica Dispel with the red hat? With
That's
the same-
clearly
You'd be the one to tell
Magica
me.
Dispel.
I think that's Magica Dispel.
And who's under that? Well, let's keep going.
That's Daisy.
There's
yeah,
lots
that's Donald
there's
and Daisy.
lots of eligible duck bachelorettes in this poster.
Daisy looks very jaunty in that, as does what's his face.
Launchpad?
Yeah, Launchpad also looks very fun.
He's holding hands with a crocodile.
Everyone's having a nice time.
Like the
Even the
Peter Pan
crocodile
crocodile.
looks
Man, I
at that
found a
suit.
new hall pass, Mr. Crocodile here.
Look at the suits that Donald and Scrooge have on. Those are like sharp kind of retro-y suits.
Everyone looks great. Everyone is in their best mode.
Yeah.
What's Magica Dispel is the character? It's a great
Yeah, she's
hat on
in-
Magica Dispel.
Yeah, the Carmen Sandiego style.
very Carmen Sandiego.
And she's got a little a cup of tea there. Mm-hmm. And she's the witch basically on the DuckTales. You remember her, Scott? She was on DuckTales.
Yeah, I watched it, but I don't remember almost any of it.
Well, she's not to be trifled with, I'll tell you that.
Where's Is Gizmo Duck anywhere here? I don't think he is.
I swear
Fenton
to God,
Crackshell?
if my kid is doing a podcast in 30 years about the crap he's watching about Leo the truck, you remember Leo and he built the car that was so good, wheels, motors, and wood. Remember the song?
Episode-
That one?
Don't you dare, son of mine!
You know, that Paw Patrol character is kind of good looking.
Oh no, this is gonna be me. What's the movie where George C. Scott is yelling while he watches his daughter? Like, is it like hardcore? I think like, no, turn it off. I haven't seen it. I believe he's watching his daughter have sex, or she's in a
You're
porno or
saying
something.
watching your kid do a podcast about
Hearing my
nostalgia
son do this
is the same
podcast,
situation.
but about the things about Gecko's Garage and the shows he's watching.
That's fair.
Episode by episode through the filmography of Mr. Beast. You know?
No, shut it off.
We sent a young child to college we paid him not to do a podcast, and he used that money to pay for his college and grad school.
Here's the deal. This money is entirely dependent on you not doing a podcast. I'm gonna play you an example of my podcast, just I'm with my son, and I say, "Isn't Daisy hot?" Well, now see, is this what you want to be? I don't want you to be me, son.
Son, you were raised with dirty money. Money that was made from mining nostalgia, saying outrageous things about childhood cartoon characters.
I yelled about grass for 15
I yelled
minutes
about grass.
to put milk in your mouth.
This money is
I wasn't mining for unobtainium. That's only an avatar, son.
disgusting money. So go to church every week to absolve me of the sins.
Anyway, you know what else is in the line is that Fred R. Femur's arm, he's skeleton number 3 in the skeleton dance. And I thought that was fun, that they named the skeletons in the skeleton dance.
Maybe this is a little bit ahead too, because they have some fun like little stuff for the kids to twirl, like the propeller on a plane from Plane Crazy.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the ships with you got a Steamboat Willie wheel. I was telling you guys, he was like this was a long line for him. He is like his dad in a good way, that he has no tolerance for lines. So we were like rounding a bend and like, whoa, we need a diversion real quick here. Oh, we got a wheel. He loves to spin a big wheel. It's a great line in terms of like stuff to do.
I wish I had a longer time in that line, because there's so much stuff.
Look, I see your point. In terms of like, is this a very good queue? Absolutely,
Yes.
it is. Am I glad I saw it? Yes. Is still any queue technically skippable? Also, yes.
Can I say the thing that gave me? I was very tired by the time I went on, so my emotions maybe were a little bit more free flowing. But I saw something that made me it gave me all the feels.
Whoa.
It was the dresser from the Lonesome Ghosts.
Whoa.
Did you remember that?
Now wait. Here, explain it. Yeah.
So in Lonesome Ghosts, I've talked about this. It's the episode. It's the cartoon where Donald, Goofy, and Mickey go ghost busting, essentially.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I'd watch it all the time on Halloween, multiple times. It's always been my favorite Mickey short. Goofy gets hurt badly in it, and I didn't like that part, but it's very memorable. It's burned in my brain of Goofy like hurting himself. Goofy gets stuck in this dresser while the ghosts are messing with him. So it's I love it. Is all really all I'm saying. And I turned a corner and I saw the dresser. The dresser was made from Lonesome Ghosts, and I went, I think I made a noise. I'm alone. I wasn't trying to be performative or anything. No one was there. I made like my noise of like, and I was like, it's a dresser from Lonesome Ghosts, and I got so excited.
Well, I forgot it has a big mirror on top too.
Yes.
And I was showing that to my boy just to like, hey, there's us. It was just to show him himself in the mirror, and then what should appear in the mirror but one of the Lonesome Ghosts.
Yes.
And it worked. He went like much like you did, but it didn't scare him. It did, because I'm concerned about that this entire time. It's a little bit of a long line for him. I'm worried about losing him, because this is a big ride. Mom and Dad really want to do it, and it's an all ages ride, so I want it to be fun for him, so that he got a little scare and he jumped, but not a scare that made him cry.
That's great.
That's
Loved
nice.
it. I was happy to see the ghost. Thank you. I almost forgot about this.
Yeah.
Glad you brought it up.
So yeah, I that was there was other parts of the line I loved, but that one I was like, wow, the real thing from the real cartoon. It's got Mickey's hat on it too, which is fun, because Mickey's wearing a real funny big like hunting hat.
It's like a Sherlock Holmes kind of hat.
Yes,
like,
you're right. It is more like Sherlock Holmes.
A few things about the dresser from Lonesome Ghost. Disney.
See, son, do you want to say that phrase in your life?
Sorry, one thing about the dresser, one thing just about my memories of Lonesome Ghost, but Disney did like a walkthrough video, like a very good video quality walkthrough of this queue.
Yes.
And they had Imagineers commenting on things like, oh, this and that. And the one guy like hosting it was like, and this is the dresser from the Lonesome Ghosts, and we were really pushing to get this in here. My memory of Lonesome Ghosts is that they all went into the house with weapons.
Yeah, like a big musket or like shotguns.
One of the I just remember one of them had a net, and one of them just had a gun.
Yeah, I think Mickey has the shotgun, but I could be wrong.
Does one of them have a spear or a trident?
I forget what I feel like Goofy has the. Maybe I'm gonna. People are like, you're not a Lonesome Ghost fan. I feel like Goofy has the net, Mickey has the shotgun,
gatekeeping,
and then
actually that was pretty lazy memory about Lonesome Ghosts 1937.
I like that one extra because I really like the real Ghostbusters cartoon and
that's
other
at the time for me.
Ghostbusters cartoon.
I did too.
Yeah,
with Tracy the Gorilla.
Yes, and every
which
now
was
and
the
then,
original Ghostbusters.
It was because there was a
show in the
live
70s.
action one. Yeah, and every now and then I'd find either. I think there was maybe one video game or arcade of the original Ghostbusters, and at garage sales or thrift shops or something, I'd come across a toy, and you could never find those toys.
Yeah.
Compared to like the real Ghostbuster toys, which you walk one block and you could find them.
Yeah, there's Lonesome Ghosts toys. I need those to be made tomorrow.
The one that I gasped, that I was shocked how excited I was, and maybe I never vocalized how much I loved. I just looked it up. The short is Pluto's Christmas Tree from 1952.
Yeah.
And there's a little lineup of when I just thought it was so clever when I was a kid that Chip and Dale are running from Pluto and they dress up. They put on a little Santa hat and a beard to disguise themselves as candles, but then they get lit on fire on the but the little like the other ornaments that have already been pilfered by Chip and Dale. That was and I did have to keep walking right past it. Maybe have we finally found a scenario where
maybe.
I don't wish I had more time in the queue because the kid was going to freak out.
Well, that's a different story.
I'm
not so crazy that I'm going to like make a 2-year-old stay in a long line.
So you say.
Well, we'll see. You're right.
Push is going to come to shove in a year or so.
Lonesome Ghosts. Say a prayer while we're sitting here.
People are mad. People are angry at us. I think they want us to keep moving. Well, they can stay angry for all I care.
She's going to cry, okay? She's going to cry as long as it takes her to stop crying so she can appreciate this.
These are important ghosts. I think undeniably a very fun point of this queue is Mickey Mouse Disco.
Of course. Oh, my
which
God.
is kind of a broader retro room because there's also a Mouser size.
Right next to it on a
vinyl
disco
on the
floor.
Yes, it's
which
a great
is so
floor.
great.
Yeah. Really fun.
This is the type of like I haven't been on the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, but this is the type of thing when they were saying, the history of Epcot or something.
Yeah.
Where it's like a little winking thing to the history of something in Disney that's done in a way that even if you don't know any of it, it's fun and blah, blah, blah. Like, there's none of that, I think, in that Guardians queue for as far as like history of Epcot. But this is like...
This is great. And even just the detail that it was organized as a tribute by Minnie and the Toontown Hysterical Society, not Historical Society.
Great.
That's really cute. I think the other thing I like about it just is it's nice to see the company embracing its actual history that it has created and not just bought. You know, because Marvel and Star Wars get all the play nowadays, but it's just like, these Mickey Mouse shorts are pretty undeniable, you know, and lots of people have fond memories of the live action films, you know, and they've whittled it down, I think, to the live action films that people like, you know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there wasn't a representation of the Patrick Swayze Tall Tale from 1994. It's not all of them, but maybe people like Tall Tale. I don't know. Well, and on that point, like they know that they got to play up that Goofy. They know, like, you know, Goofy movie has such a cult at this point, and then you get Power Limes. Oh, you're in a little. It's the concessions for the movie theater.
The concessions are so good.
Limes.
Yeah. I can't. They make fake They made fake candy, which, you know me, you know Jason, candy guys, candy boys, as you might say. And they made
the next podcast.
Candy boys.
Oh my God! Is that different candy every episode?
That's right. It's not like Doughboys.
It's
clean.
Like
it's
pretty
candy.
Clean.
Candy
pretty
boys.
pretty narrow. It's a narrow focus.
I don't know. Everybody,
you know?
a lot of people like candy though.
What
a
do
lot
you
of
mean?
people like. You're saying narrow focused? I'm saying.
Oh no, our
you're saying the
subject
topic.
matter. Yeah, narrow is good, specific is good, but lots of people like it. So big potential audience.
Big potential audience.
Topics. Oh boy.
But they made fake candy, which looks so fun, and they really should think about making it for real. They're not going to, but I assume. But yes, Power Limes. There's a Darkwing Duck candy.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Called, I have a picture of it somewhere. It's like basically like Reese's cups. It's called like Mallard cups or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got the Darkwing Duck colors. The popcorn is all Mickey shaped. Did you see that?
I was moving fast.
The big popcorn, the big
point.
popcorn popper is popping things, and it's like kind of it's got the sound playing. It's not actually popping fresh popcorn. There's a little like video kind of projection playing to make it look like it is.
Oh, that's fun.
But if you look, the whole thing is filled with Mickey popcorn. And when I say Mickey, you look closely, and each kernel has a little snout and ears.
Wow.
Like the detail is so small, and you easily would miss that.
I did miss it. Yeah. I didn't catch that.
But
wow.
I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff like that I don't know. But the concession area is so fun. The where you get your condiments.
This is
Oh yeah, thank you,
Mallard
cups.
cups.
Mallard cups.
Yeah.
There it is.
Someone needs to
I
take a
want
higher
Mallard
resolution.
cups. I want to put a purple peanut butter cup in my mouth. Stat.
Now, that's
okay?
the most aggressive thing I've heard on the podcast.
Well, that's right. It is. That's my lust. I'm lusting to eat a purple peanut butter cup.
Mike's taking us down a tangent of all his mouth business.
That's
you know?
right. And I'm not ashamed of this. I want Darkwing Duck candy, and I want it now.
I'm gonna eat it out.
They have.
All right, Scott, let's not push it.
I knew that would throw everyone.
Now, what is the parody movie poster of the Tim Allen, Craig Kilborn Shaggy Dog?
Is Craig Kilborn in
Craig
that
Kilborn
film?
is the
that right?
supporting, I think supporting actor.
Is he? I know
of
Robert
that.
Downey Jr. is in that one.
It is not on Disney Plus. I don't.
Okay.
I think I tried to find this.
Wow. Craig Kilborn.
I don't know that that's been parodied. For the kids, the condiment stations, which is fun. Did you let your son do any of that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, briefly. But
'Cause
then
they were
the line was moving.
Yeah,
we,
right
we
there.
did
It does
for a
move.
second.
I wanted to be there more. There's some fun like ketchup, mustard. It doesn't actually spit this stuff out. But then one of them is haggis. That you can
really?
hit, and then one of them, I forget. There's another one that's like molten, and it's like kind of burning the countertop.
I'm sorry. I'm a little distracted because I just found a review of the Shaggy Dog 2006.
Go ahead.
I must admit, when I first saw this movie when it came out, it was incredible. and know that I'm all grown up, it's even more terrific. It's nice to have to see the Santa Claus and the voice of Buzz Lightyear get turned into a dog so he can understand the value of being with his family. So I think this movie is perfect, so teaching us all the importance of family.
Wow.
Wow, that's a
Okay.
pretty thoughtful review of someone who just let people enjoy things, and you can't complain about that, you know?
Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Maybe childless nerds don't understand the
The
beauty of a
Santa-
simple
Shaggy
Santa
Dog.
Claus turning into a dog to understand being with family.
Their lives are misery. They stand in front of the firing squad, enjoying their last cigarette before the end comes.
So there's, I could identify like this condiment station as a kid. I would have been like, I remember this.
Yeah.
I'll talk about this on a podcast in 30 years.
These are moments. This is the thing that you talk about, Mike, like we're just wanting to have like big beats and moments you remember. I think the Q has them.
Yes.
People will be talking about these parts of this
For
Q.
a child and for daddy.
Yes, again, we have different definitions of aggressive.
That's just
the
the
things
nice
that
thing.
sound weird to me are different than and for daddy.
For child and for
For
daddy.
child and for daddy.
I'm daddy. I'm daddy. Look, I'm daddy, okay?
Well, you're a father, but I'm daddy.
Oh. That we keep topping
Top-
each
I was
other.
gonna
The most
say,
aggressive
Jason has
things
topped
said
it.
on this
Well-
podcast. Let's get to this ride. Let's get
We have been
deep,
talking
deep
for
into
so
I know.
GD long.
I'm sorry, everyone in the booth who's here. We'll try to move through fast. But the okay. Talk about these moments, big things, and there's a big one in the pre-show.
Yes, the pre-show is you go in a little room and you watch a premiere of a new short, a Mickey short, Perfect Picnic. And then the song plays, which is the earworm song that
Nothing
you'll
can
hear.
stop us now.
Yes. And then some fun happens and chaos, and Goofy shows up in a train.
Yes.
And then a pie gets lodged into Goofy's smokestack.
It's Mickey and Minnie are driving alongside Goofy in a train. They say a nice hello to each other, but then they hit a bump that is on the train track. Pluto goes flying, pie goes flying, goes right into Goofy's smokestack, starts steaming, whole thing blows up, and the smoke goes off of the screen into the room. And this is a great thing we've just told you about it. If you might already know about it, if you go with anyone who doesn't know this beat, as I got to with Erin, she had no idea this was coming. It's such a jaw dropper, just like, whoa,
Yeah,
I didn't know. A
know.
great pre-show, and it like not only so exciting that and then just to say the whole thing that Goofy is now, he's been thrown from the train and he's hanging up on part of the screen that is still working up above the big hole that's been blown in it.
Yeah.
He starts talking to the person in the room, the ride attendant, the cast member, says, do you mind helping these good people into the cartoon while I fix this here locomotive? Like that.
This is great. I am a sucker for person on screen or animatronic talks to cast member. It's a nice nod to the great movie ride. Also a nod in this. The ride kind of starts and finishes in a railroad barn. A fond possession of Walt Disney himself.
Oh, that's true.
A barn with railroad stuff.
Mr. Railroad.
Yeah.
It's
Walt
a really
Disney.
good train ride, which really helped propel my son along through the whole thing. Just telling him, like, you're going to go on a bunch of trains today, and one of the trains is driven by Goofy. You could see him
What else do you want?
processing it.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
First of
I
all,
guess so.
if it was me and I was little, I'd be like, that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
This is going to go poorly.
Is he
Mommy,
trained?
let's not go.
Surely the union doesn't
Mom,
know
you flat?
about
Can
this.
Goofy show me his license?
Does he take regular tests to make sure he's equipped?
One thing I've always thought about this ride, did they have to have the conversation of the term railway? They're like, we can't call this a railroad. We have actual railroads on property, and people will be confused.
I think this is actually an example of a title that was probably group thought to death, but it works.
Yeah, I like it. I do like it.
Because it's like, it's not actually like Mickey and Minnie's Railway.
It is not. No,
Yeah.
it's not correct.
And it's, Railway. Why wouldn't it just be Railroad? Or why wouldn't it be like the name of the cartoon? Like, it works and I like it, but it's an example of, I think, an overthink. Okay, can't just be Mickey because Mickey and Minnie, they're together. That's their ride, not just Mickey, even though the whole queue is Mickey. But Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, it says what it is, kind of. So I think I like it. I like the title a lot.
I like that.
I think it was like it was constructed for a lot of reasons that way.
I like that everyone just has jobs. Everyone has weird. Goofy drives a locomotive. Pete is jackhammering. Daisy teaches a dance class that covers both waltz and rumba.
Yes.
Mickey has a big red convertible. Like we don't spend time getting to know about Mickey's big red car.
That's true. We need to know more about that big red
His
car.
license.
Significantly less horrific than the nightmare car that was parked in front of his house. In Toontown.
Was that a nightmare car?
It's just kind of like.
I like that car.
Yeah, I haven't
It's
was
just
a
kind
nightmare
of,
car.
it's just kind of weird proportions. It just kind of looks a little scary.
It's fun as a cartoon.
It's not like Mr. McFisto's car from the Batman Forever video with the hands.
Oh no! Well, we're all scared of that car.
Yeah. I like Mickey's car.
One of these things, like that the hole is blown in the screen, and then Goofy and the cast member discuss that they will let you into the cartoon, and then you walk through the screen. So that's a hole has been blown in the screen. Cool. Wait, how do I get into this ride? I go into the screen.
Yeah.
That's great. And it's blown out towards you, but it's still being projected on. So that texture, like the chaotic cutout, is great.
It's awesome. And as a kid, I would not know. I'd be like amazed by it. Can I give a little minor gripe? This works better in Hollywood studios than it does in Toontown, because in the reality of Toontown, you've already walked into the cartoon. You're in the cartoon already in Toontown, and now the whole thing is like, oh my God, we're going in the cartoon. We were already in the cartoon. So now
Things
you're going
don't
in yet
get
a different.
cartoony until yeah.
But again, minor gripe here.
Well, I guess that's the turn that you have to make, because in this version, you entered the cartoon the second you entered Toontown.
Yes.
So you already they
So now you're going
can't
into
have that.
another cartoon.
I see what you're saying. That is interesting.
Is the queue in Florida? Is it also like posters of movies that likely would have premiered at Grauman's Chinese Theater?
I don't
like
remember.
posters of Mickey shorts from like the time period when this was like the show palace of stars of Hollywood. Like I think
Maybe.
that's a thing I like that. I do think it's tasteful, and it's a nod to like the golden age of Hollywood stuff
Well,
that's
yeah,
still
you like
lingering.
it. Of course
Yeah, of
you
course
like
I
it.
like it. I'm 37,
Robert
but I've
Os-
always been 80.
Robert
you know?
Osborne of Podcast The Ride.
Robert Osborne, look, he kept that ride alive. Those last few years, Turner Classic Movies was keeping the lights on for that ride, you know?
Sure.
We stand Robert Osborne.
We certainly do. But But yes, no, this is not a major. No kids like threw a fit. We were already in the cartoon. What?
Yeah.
We were already there. Why are we going in it again? Doesn't make sense. Yeah, of course. We were there.
If they in Cartoon World, they would just call this movie. They would just call this media. You know.
Your children aren't logic police because they aren't on Twitter yet.
They're not. Yeah, right. So you go through this, and then you go into a very I would say
By the way, also, I don't really understand how the screen blowing up works. I know that it rises up.
Yeah.
But you really got to, and depending on how much smoke there is, you really can't tell. And there's also this black barricade, like what would be under a movie screen, and something happens there, too, to give you passage. And I don't quite get what it is.
Something shoots down?
Maybe. Some of the black goes
But
down
it's hard
and the white
to tell.
goes up.
It's one of those newer things where it's almost impossible. Like you've seen a clip of the Beast transforming in Japan?
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah,
I think it's the similar thing as on the Shanghai Pirates, that a skeleton turns into Jack Sparrow, and you're watching it and you're like, I know there's a projection happening, but I don't know what. I could not in a million years think or figure out what this is.
Jeez, they got it.
But yeah, similar thing to here where I'm like, I think something's just shooting down, but this fog and the misdirect is working so effectively.
Yeah.
And then you go into kind of a generic barn, I would say, like a generic kind of barn feeling place.
But it's so warm and gentle in there. I love that room.
Well, and the music is playing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the intro of the song, and it's just kind of on a loop.
It's a very just pleasant melody. Any form you hear it in, it's great. Something I'm going to say about this ride, I don't think I've ever called this out on a ride before. Stanchions. Good stanchions, the line separators.
Yeah.
Because in the first half of it, you've got real Art Deco. It's little cube pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
Look out for those. They're functional, but they're good. And then you get into Cartoon World. They're wonderful. So these big, these fun, big yellow knobs that have been drawn on all crazy. They're wonderful pieces. If they started selling these, getting rid of stray ones, I'd buy a Runaway Railway stanchion at an auction.
Stanchions on the Haunted Mansion are really memorable in the
certainly.
Line too.
I don't think they've had a good stanchion game.
So maybe if we start fetishizing the stanchions, that we'll put it
us.
out into Diz Twitter, and then in 20 years Disney will start selling them.
Sure.
Eventually we'll get there where they monetize this.
Oh, because they had the bats on the stanchions at Haunted Mansion. I think you get as a wine stopper.
Oh, really?
Or as
they have been monetizing the stanchions.
So some stanchions,
but not these,
maybe.
but these are new stanchions.
We're gonna get yelled at. They have been monetizing the stanchions. You call yourself 6 years in theme park podcast? You don't know about the monetization of the stanchions?
If someone's saying that phrase, they aren't capable of being as aggressive as you're being right now. That voice
they don't have
would
as
not
much
match that
They
statement.
don't have as much tea, you're saying?
You haven't even talked about the Disney 100 ears, the drippy ears that look
the drippy
gross.
ears. Yeah. There's that. We don't have time to talk
Not
about
enough
episode.
time.
Another big moment for me in this ride, and I don't know if you guys had the same thing, but I had not really spoiled it for myself in terms of what the ride mechanism is. I assumed that it was a railway. I'd heard that Well, that's a big moment, that the doors swing open and Goofy is he's talking to you from the front car. But then I really took it on faith at the beginning that I had no reason not to assume that this is a train that all moves together as one piece. I think I knew it was trackless, but I still thought maybe these are connected somehow, and you could still explore wherever in the rooms. So it genuinely was a surprise to me that all of the cars being in a row like a train is made up. It's sold by the fact that they move and have slack similar to a train vehicle, how a real train would be. And then Mickey crashes into a switch. Goofy goes one way. Every car splits off, goes every other which way. Oh my God, this is not a train at all. This is a trackless vehicle. It's in the realm of Rise of the Resistance. And who knows what these vehicles can do. It's a really exciting moment.
Really delightful. There's like 3 things in there that I was just delighted by. The swinging open of the window with Goofy.
Yeah.
That was really fun. The trackless ride thing, I feel like I've read reviews of rides and people go like, why does this have to be trackless? It's not using the form at all. This very clearly pretty fun splitting apart, fun all dancing together is really fun. And then
This
another
anti-ride, I hate that. It doesn't use the form at all. One car goes one way, other car goes up the other way. You have different views of the.
No, I think this is a good, or like the Efteling ride is a very good use of it, where the rides split off and go on their own.
I saw the
ways and
video that
stuff.
pointed out that's maybe a better, like probably the ultimate trackless dark ride is that all the vehicles all have completely different experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
this
it's
whole
still
rise
pretty
doesn't, boo.
new.
This anti-rise thing is spreading, and I'm
Oh,
stuck.
no,
It stops
no.
right here.
I meant more like in general when a ride is trackless. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, does it use the full?
Did you say
extent?
rides, not rides?
Oh,
You said
I said
rides.
rides.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Scott's hearing
here.
things.
Well, I'm just ready to pounce.
I was gonna make the point. I think it's the wrong system for rides to use. The wrong ride system.
Yeah.
Interesting. The third thing, I think the voice acting on these shorts in general, but especially this ride, is so great. Like, this ride has like legitimately funny moments, and
Yeah, absolutely.
there's when Mickey hits the railway switch, he's like screaming, like he's a real neurotic everyman in these kinds of shorts. And then at the very end, there's like a moment where Minnie is just screaming at full volume, and I was just like, this is fun. This is really fun.
They're
Like,
all great, and in so many, it is, the new Mickey, who I'm going to butcher the name if I try to say it, but it's that actor who's he's one of the new Three Stooges. He's Mo in the live action
I
Three
did see
Stooges.
that, yeah.
He's fantastic. His Mickey in general is so great,
Yeah.
but then it's not as if they recast everybody, because it's the classic people. This ride is Russi Taylor, who's passed away since, but it is like the Minnie that it's been for most of our lives, they just like get fresh angles out of her. Everybody, Bill Farmer,
yeah.
Goofy, like all the people who have been doing it forever are just top of their game in this version.
And Daisy's Tress McNeil.
She is
So
so great.
good.
I think they've never had an angle on Daisy besides Daisy has
right.
always been like Minnie but duck, and now this
Yes.
Daisy is like. She's demented. You get into that
Yeah.
that dance studio, and you're like, I don't like where this is going. Like, I am uneasy about what the plans are.
I heard. This is again too late in the podcast to start taking tangents, but I have to say this because when I went to see a live read of The Simpsons, courtesy of Mitch when he used to work on The Simpsons. It was awesome to see everybody do the voices, but I was like, oh, it's Tress McNeil, and she did 2 lines. And again, I like lit up even more than seeing almost anybody else, even Dan Castellaneta do Homer live, which is insane. But Tress McNeil, 2 lines out of it, like out of there, not maybe immediately, but Tress McNeil, John Lovett said he auditioned for Saturday Night Live with Tress McNeil. And have you heard this anecdote?
I think I heard this.
And Lorne said, oh, Tress McNeil was the best one. Too old.
What?
Maybe 37 or 38 at the
No.
time.
Wow. No, I have not heard that. Oh,
Yes,
no.
this is fresh SNL red meat for us nerds. I forget there was another woman he said he auditioned with too that I think did really well, but I believe specifically Tress McNeil did the best out of anybody. Because there's something with Tress
killer.
McNeil, who we're talking about, who does so many voices on The Simpsons, and she's Dot on Animaniacs. She's all these
Gotcha,
voices. She's
yeah.
so funny.
Yeah.
And sometimes you go, oh, maybe somebody's voice is just funny. But she's a groundling and clearly a great performer in her
has
own
the
right.
chops,
And
has
she
the
got that
instincts.
far with SNL. I
That
think
made
you
me
might be,
so mad.
I think in that same time, Lynn Stewart, who is Miss Yvonne on Pee-wee,
Oh,
it
maybe-
might be who's maybe a
That
little
may be-
older. I think it's all might have been the spot that Jan Hooks.
Yeah,
got,
and
this
I
was
like
the
Jan
lowest.
Hooks a
Yeah, I
lot.
like
it's
Jan
incredible.
Hooks,
This
too.
is all what a.
But
that
to hear
trio,
that story, I was
unbelievable.
like kind of mad. I was like, that's awful.
I just had to wait for a millennial to create a cartoon and just lay down the like law of like the lead is Tress McNeil. Okay, the lead voice is Tress McNeil. I don't care what famous actor of the 5 famous actors you remember you want to be the lead, but it's Tress McNeil.
So yeah, she's Daisy now, which is great.
Yeah. It's even that. That's like with no other choices. Just giving. We're throwing that ball to the greatest living voice actress possibly.
Yeah,
Probably,
maybe.
I think.
Sure.
So great. I mean, we can we can jump around, but it basically becomes like the track. The switch is flipped, and now every car is going every which way. It's up to Mickey and Minnie to try to save you and corral the train cars. I think the ride does a really great job of like, there's always the issue of you need to have your adventure, but the characters are having their adventure, and it's hard to make all those things combine. And I think and Goofy is kind of his own plot, although we just lose him for most of it. But I think this ride does a great job of it's everybody's story. You're part of what they're doing. They're part of what you're doing.
And it's not doing the thing I've complained about lately where other people have put it better or more articulately. There's so much going on around you that there's plenty of stuff to look at depending on what you want to look at. Yeah. Which is, I like that better than when you're pointed at stuff. Again, except for the Transformers.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is they're perfectly pointing you at the perfect amount of information.
Masterful performance of a tear-jerking scene. No, I think you'd never get tired of because even just unimportant stuff whizzing by looks neat and is fun. You could I'm going to go on this time on this ride, I'm only staring at stuff that doesn't matter. And I think you'd have a great time.
Yes, for sure.
But you're in this Old West scene that's really fun. That really starts showing you the tricks and they're trying to lasso you and struggling to do so. Then you go into this carnival scene that's jaw-dropping. We referred to it's as if it's there's nothing happening on the walls, and then it all turns on. I think what we are looking at for a lot of it is just different percentages of this. A lot of this is painted, and this is permanently what it is, and it's just really bright and lit to where it looks like a cartoon.
Yes.
And then so seamlessly blended in our projection spots. But then you've got other rooms where it has to be the entire wall that's projected.
Right.
And you're also where are these projectors coming? Sometimes I saw a video that was slowed down that pointed out, all right, they're up there in the ceiling hidden. But it's all short throw projectors, so they can just hit from really particular angles and but still at the best resolution you've ever seen of visual images in front of you.
Yes, I have a moderately priced projector that I've used in the backyard on a white sheet, and the light is not strong.
Stuff. You gotta load those lumens.
It's gotta be dark lumens, and I got a higher amount of lumens than the cheapest projectors, but still, it's got to be pretty dark for that. So imagining a fairly dark room projecting, that just has to be the most.
Get to get at that.
How many lumens must it take?
Next time I go on this thing, I'm gonna find a cast member and go hey, pretty good ride you got here. How many lumens?
Will Jim and Len look into how many lumens each projector has? Please, I'm begging them.
Need a lumen count, guys.
I mean, if they could just hit up all the AMCs in the LA Burbank area too, some of those are.
You want Jim and Len to go investigate?
I mean,
it
would be great. I a few times have been
I think we know the answer.
I kind of want to go
lumens
talk
are low
to someone.
at that
Lumens
AMC
are low.
30.
The 16, I think is actually operating pretty well.
Sure, and there's obviously the higher resolution theaters that have more lumens, but
and recliners.
Right, but you're saying
that
the
has
6.
nothing to do with anything.
You're saying the 6 and the 8.
Oh, the
have
6
bad
and the
lumens.
8 have pretty bad lumens. Yeah, they try to trick you in those with the recliner, and then you're like, "What? I am squinting."
Another thing, you know what else doesn't have recliners? Forever Dog Studios.
Hey,
we're here sitting upright, stressing our backs. We want to be able to do this thing all the way.
Yeah, we want to recline. If
Almost,
we're gonna do a podcast for 3 hours talking about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, then
racing now. Well, what's just important stuff to get? Okay, a jaw dropper to me. Love this sequence. You end up in a Hawaiian lagoon with cliffs and waterfalls. Here's a big rock wall. You watch Minnie and Minnie fly into a plant. The plant rustles.
Oh, yeah.
And they poke out of it. They want to help you, but then you're careening. They warn you about a waterfall right exactly when you're going to go down the waterfall. Every car goes into a little pod. You're all in your own little simulator dome where you great fun little waterfall sequence. Then you come out, you turn around, you are now underwater, but you were looking at the same room you entered.
Yeah.
That is now projected 100% different, but it's all the same set pieces, and they all look like that plant that Mickey and Minnie flew into is now kelp. And the cliff walls are now underwater rocks. It's so and it takes you a second to wait a minute, and how'd they do that so quickly? Is that the same wall? Well, it's got to be, because there's only one way to go here. I'm blown away by that.
For a second, because it sort of goes into a that might be, because you go off a waterfall and it's sort of a very familiar theme park trick of like it makes you feel like you're shooting far down, but really you're just seeing a video or whatever. And that part I remember being like, the kids will enjoy this part. This part doesn't do so much for a sophisticated rider like myself. And then it turns around and the whole room's different. I go, okay, well that's now we were in a little box and now we're out. Okay, you got me.
The giant different rooms are really something. I like when you come around, you come out of something and there's just a city. There's just a full city scene happening.
Yeah. It's so busy. It looks like the horizon goes forever. Tons of cars racing by at the end.
And then you go into a factory and Mickey gets stuck. I always liked when characters got stuck in the gears and the machines and stuff. I always liked that as a kid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Still holds up. I do have a question coming out of that scene, because when I was trying to watch videos of them back to back, is there kind of like a weird dark tunnel at the Disneyland version? Like, it seemed like in the Florida version, you come out of the factory and you're right at that picnic ending.
That's correct. Yeah. They somehow, it ends different. The room is flipped. Like Mickey and Minnie are on the left in one version, on the right in the other.
Okay.
I think the unload is different, so they have to get you to some.
Okay.
And I think they added animation of Goofy to cover it.
I see.
So yeah,
okay.
that is
makes
different.
sense.
Yeah.
That's a thing I really like, and they really treaded the line very carefully here. The big-headed Mickey and Minnie that are three-dimensional but have projections on it that you see in the car at the beginning, you see at the picnic at the end. I think they're cute. I think those are great.
Yeah.
And those could have also looked very, uncanny valley, just like big head Mickey.
That's true. That could have been horrifying if they didn't do it right.
But I think it navigates the 2-dimension to 2.5 dimension, 3-dimension pretty well.
Yeah.
For most of this ride.
Oh,
Yeah.
completely.
The dancing room with Daisy, I really like.
Great.
That's where I think it's fun just to see what the cars can do, what the ride vehicle can do. I know that these ride vehicles are like, they're a little bit updated, I think, technology from like Pooh's Honey Hut and Ratatouille. And I think they can move faster than those can actually, and maybe even Rise. I'm not sure if that's the same one. But I almost wish there was like another room like the Daisy room in it. But that's kind of a gripe. But it's like, it's just a small room. It's the intimacy, I think. But like, it's almost like it's fun to have kind of that variation where all of a sudden now you're in a small room and you're doing kind of fun stuff. Just scale-wise, it's fun to go back and forth between the two.
And you pause. You we're gonna have
and you
we're
gotta
all
pause.
facing a wall, and it's not about moving forward and getting to the next thing.
Yeah, and some of it, I think, if you have never been on like Trackless ride, if you've never been on like Pooh's Honey Hut or something, the first time we went on that ride, it blew my mind in the same way you're talking about, and where like the car splits apart. And you can like all these different tricks, because they're very similar to some of the stuff they do on that Pooh ride. So like if you're going on for the first time and you've gone on the traditional dark rides, all this stuff is so cool. And yeah, I don't know. There's two thoughts. I'm losing my mind a little bit. I still haven't caught up on sleep.
I can't imagine you would have.
My eye is twitching right now, honestly. The right one.
I've been twitching too. What's happening? Are we?
It's usually lack of sleep, or I think sometimes if you're over caffeinated, which I am not today.
No, I'm not either. I'm
it's sleep then.
Sleeping great too. I don't know.
Oh well, then I don't know. Something else.
I better have my eye.
My eye just switches when I'm tired.
Oh no. But yeah, but the switch of the dance, like now we've established waltz, and then all of a sudden conga, which is much more jerky and crazy.
It's almost
and
like
all these flowers come out of nowhere in the room.
Yeah.
So fun. What a delightful. You're laughing at that.
Just from a writing perspective, that reminded me of such like an old Mickey or old Looney Tunes gag. Just the mention of waltz and conga back to back. I was like, I feel like that was always a thing that characters would get up into antics where they would end up dancing a very funny dance that as a child, I'm like, I don't really know what these things are, but it's funny when Bugs Bunny does it. You know?
Like a machine would make somebody do it. Like now, somebody's manipulating a character into conquering and they don't want to be.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice is kind of like that.
Wasn't there a Simpsons where he's watching a movie or something where like a college kid shoots people.
Oh,
he
with a
shoots the
ray.
dean, he
That,
shoots
yeah,
the
yeah,
dean.
yes, yeah, and then they're all like, dancing against their will.
Nixon. Yeah.
That's fun. That's when the Daisy's making you do that. She's forcing a dance on all these people.
Sure.
Really fun. And then that final scene, that park at the end after the factory is another incredible. Like it all in a second it becomes a different type of from chaotic scary factory with something called the Smasher to a serene park. One set piece moves down, something else rises up, and it goes from being like a some industrial piece to a merry-go-round.
Yeah.
It's lovely. And then that final scene is just like oddly gentle and serene for having come out of a really hectic ride.
And lasts a while too.
Yeah,
which is almost
it's
similar to what they did to the Snow White ride, even though there's a lot less time on that ride. But the end of have you been on it yet? Or
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
I love the ending of it now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's another thing where they like give you a nice like calm, fun, peaceful, not even fun, I'll say, just calm and nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's the way out of it. And not all rides need to be that way, but it's fun. It's nice to see that on some of them. And this one really feels like you're in like living the like perfect happy ending of all the cartoons.
Yeah.
I think because the week I was down there, Ratatouille had just opened in Florida. So doing this and Ratatouille back to back, obviously this one much more advanced, but tonally this is more joyful and goofy, and Ratatouille is just kind of like, oh, this is a nice, serene is probably the right word, a nice French, like you feel like you're in Paris, and there's a little bit of antics because you're running, under all the kitchen appliances and stuff, but it's like, oh, a nice, pleasant vibe that lasts a little bit,
So
it's all, we have been shitting on Disney recently, but it's just because we want more of it. We want as many of these as possible because God knows they got it. These are like great rides recently. This is one of the best things in any of these parks, and it's from the last 3 years. I just want more. That's all.
Yeah,
they're so great. They have such talent there.
I think it's a cycle they get into a lot where they get like a big ride out, like Runaway Railway or Radiator Springs Racers. And then for a few years after that, they just coast on like, hey, there is a new rice dish at the food festival sheds. Like, they just coast on that or merchandise and stuff. Or like, I understand that they have to pay off this. I know that like they want to try and make a little money before they do the next big ride. But we certainly were conditioned to expect big rides a lot faster growing up in the 90s,
Yeah. Well, and you get them at Universal more so lately. It just depends on who's got that big pile of money. And maybe it won't be Disney again for a while, but I'm glad when they get it.
they have the pile. Pay the cast members whatever they're at, like the $1 more they're asking for, and build some rides. Truly, it would not take much out of the bottom line if they did just those two things.
Yeah. Because look, these rides that are exciting. We're excited. This has been very positive. If I could close out with one thing, Jordan, I have a little video of, this is a special that, a clip from a special of people who were pretty excited about the ride. This is an interview with Sharita Carter, who's doing the Princess and the Frog, the Splash Mountain redo. But some Disney Channel folks, including somebody named Milo, I think they're all from the movie Zombies, and they came to check out this ride. And I just really like, for it being this very earnest cartoon situation, like who they paired, like the vibe of this guy compared to the vibe of the ride. Do we have that video, Jordan?
This is the very first scene in our attraction. This is where Mickey and Minnie are getting together to go on the perfect picnic. Aww. We're very proud of it, and I can tell you, this is just the beginning.
Okay. I hear there's a piece of Disney history on the ride.
There sure is, and I'd love to show you. Come with me.
Sharita.
So
That's pretty much. And it's a great place to have a picnic. Okay. Yeah, I'm listening.
They should have. They should have had Kyle's character from Smash do this.
Yeah.
It's just skipping Trevor.
Yeah.
That feels very
Right, Zuzzy's
much of a piece with like Disney Adventures pairing. Like, look, John Malkovich is on the cover and he's hanging out with Stitch. You know.
Okay, so your new movie takes us inside in the line of fire. Okay. Yo.
Stitch wants to know, what is it like being you? Because didn't get the movie at all.
So yeah, hey, I'm as excited as Cool Milo. That was the name of that clip. I named the file Cool Milo.
That's
and you know, for anybody from little kids all the way up to the coolest of Milos, Runaway Railway is for you.
It's a winner.
It's so great and fun to talk about something we're super excited about. You survived Podcast The Ride. And thank you, Jordan Katz at Forever Dog, for producing this episode. It's an episode you can watch on the Forever Dog YouTube channel. If you, listen to it and then immediately go back and watch it.
Yeah, it's always
both.
Y'all
please.
catch so many little things that second time.
Little things like that part. I didn't know
many
it
things to look
46
at.
minutes in that Scott sipped a coconut LaCroix.
That's right.
I wouldn't have caught that just in the audio one.
Carlson's eye starts twitching around an hour and 15, and it's really alarming.
It's a
really
fun.
weird.
It's a drinking game to figure
Squirting
out whose
liquid.
eyes are twitching when. You know.
You can watch them age rapidly within the episode. And you can find us on the socials at Podcast The Ride for 3 bonus episodes every month. Check out Podcast The Ride, The Second Gate, or get 1 more bonus episode on our new tier, Club 3. You will find all that at patreon.com/Podcast The Ride. It's full of great content that is great for child and for daddy.
That's me.
Forever Dog.
This has been a Forever Dog production. Executive produced by Mike Carlson, Jason Sheridan, Scott Gardner, Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey. For more original podcasts, please visit foreverdogpodcasts.com and subscribe to our shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Keep up with the latest Forever Dog news by following us on Twitter and Instagram at Forever Dog Team and liking our page on Facebook.